of an untidy start there, Law of Peace. Fails to muster up any early pace. And Law of Peace has made a bit of ground, but still got plenty ground to make up. Law of Peace is taking off. He's absolutely flying as Law of Peace. He's getting the better of them. That's a big win.
Hello and welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast, episode 122. It's a special edition as we have live coverage of the 2022 Dubai World Cup here on the HHH Racing Podcast. Thanks very much for joining us this morning or this afternoon, depending where you are. I'm your host, Howard Kravets. We have an excellent show today covering 6 group or graded races from Meydan Racecourse in the United Arab Emirates, as well as 2 fantastic guests that I'll be bringing on momentarily from the UK to help us pick some winners today. Please make sure whether you're new to the show or whether you've seen us before, you go to the bottom of the screen right there and hit that subscribe button. After you do that, hit the notification bell so that you'll know when new content will arise, and also smash that thumbs up button. Also, that'll tell YouTube this is a fantastic show. As you can see there on my name tag, you can follow me on Twitter at HKravets. I think you'd really enjoy that follow. We've got a lot of things going on. We have many things to talk about. We don't want to waste too much time. Also, before we start, we have many people watching, and I anticipate a large crowd today here on YouTube, on Twitter, other places. So please make sure you comment in the chat on the top right-hand side of the screen, folks. In the chat, any questions you have about today's last 6 races, horizontal betting, vertical betting, any questions for our guests, any questions for me. We want to have a very lively discussion. We already have people here watching. Ralph, good morning to you, sir. Thanks for joining the show. We also have Derek. Yes, let's hope the podcast pool crushes it today with our pick 6. We have a lot of people watching. Very excited to have you all here. We have a great combination of horses from the United States and international raters in these races in Dubai. We have a lot of deep diving and handicapping to do. So let's get on with it, because the first race is starting in about 15 minutes. I would like to bring on, very excited to have 2 fantastic handicappers from Liverpool, England, from the UK. One has been with us before, one has not. Let's bring them on to the show. We have from Liverpool, England, our wonderful friend. He's been on with us before, Davy Lane. And also we have his friend and my new good friend, an excellent handicapper who has expertise in Dubai and many other places, Phillip Edwards. Gentlemen, Davy, we'll start with you. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Howard. I'm in the zone. I have a little technical difficulty with my camera, so when you get to Phillip, I'll just sort that out. But otherwise, I'm good. I'm in good shape.
Okay, no problem. Phil, let's go ahead and go to you, please. Phil, welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Howard. Thanks for having me on. Great to be on.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. By the way, folks, there might be a little bit of a delay, so we don't mean to talk over each other. Phil, very quickly, for the hundreds of thousands of viewers that are watching this live throughout the world on YouTube, please tell everyone very quickly your handicapping background, your knowledge of Dubai, and also your ownership background as well.
Oh, right. So we've been playing Meydan since the Nadal Sheba days, basically. I've pretty much had some success there. We've had some losing days too. But yeah, love the track. No, most grains of sand like the back of my hand there. Hence why we're having to rejig a bit of handicapping today. Now we're seeing how the track's riding. Owned a couple of horses in Dubai in the past. One in Spain, and a few interests in the jump scene in the UK.
Yes,
jumpers coming through.
Yes, Phil has a lot of jumps background. By the way, Cheltenham looked unbelievable. So great to see crowds.
It'd be great
over
to have
100,000 people. Absolutely.
It was a lot of people saying it was too busy, but not for. I thought it was just perfect.
No.
Great time had.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, let's go ahead. Let's talk about the format here today so people understand what's going to be happening. First of all, on the bottom of the screen, here's what everyone needs to do. First of all, whether you're watching Sky Racing over in the UK or whether you're watching TVG or Fox Sports 2, whatever, everyone needs to, right now, if you're watching this live, go to the TV, turn the volume down, all the way down, and turn our volume up so you can hear what we have to say because the coverage is going to be outstanding. Also, on the bottom of the screen, folks, right now, you can see it right there. We have a scroll. Now, this scroll, H will stand for Howard, of course, D will be Davy, and P will stand for Phil. These are our, for the most part, our vertical bets. That means these are our bets that we would like to make within each race. And there shouldn't be any mistakes on the bottom of the screen. So grab that pad of paper and a pencil or your camera. You can screenshot whatever you're doing at home. Again, you see these are our bets for all 6 races on the main part of the card. So feel free to jot them down whenever you want. You viewers at home can see this in case you have to get up for a moment or you have to leave the show for a while and come back, whatever. All of our individual picks for the races you will see at the bottom of the screen. They're not our top 3 selections. We'll be talking about those as we go along. But those are the bets that we would make. If you see an E/W, that is called an each way bet for you American bettors. That is a bet that is made in Europe. It's basically a horse that needs to finish in the money. We're not going to get into a lot of details. But those of you that are watching overseas are very familiar with the each way bet. That is not available here in the United States. We're also going to be talking about different betting pools as well. Let me tell everyone the format of what's going to happen here, and then we will quickly get into the handicapping of the first race. Due to contractual obligations and copyrighting and whatnot, we are not going to be watching the races live here on this station, on this podcast. What's going to happen is we're going to talk right up to the beginning of the race. As the horses are loading into the gate, we will take a commercial break here on this podcast, allow everyone to watch the race live on TV, and then literally within 30 seconds to a minute after the race is over, come right back to the podcast. We're going to be jumping right in, talking about analysis. And also, Davy and Phil, you can help us with this later. Once the replay of the race, it'll probably come up on Twitter, gentlemen, I would imagine. Once the replay of the race comes up, we will then be allowed to watch the replay of the race, and we can analyze it if we'd like. Gentlemen, if you see a place later on where the replay comes up, let me know, and we'll put that replay right away on the podcast. But again, folks, you watching at home, we'll be watching on our own. So I will go off air for a few minutes while the race happens, then we'll come back on. The last thing I want to say before we talk about our analysis, the pick 6 starts here. It's a $1 pick 6. Very quickly, on the bottom of the screen, again, feel free to write this down, or you can take a picture of it if you're at home. That is my Caveman Straight $1. It's a $1 bet, pick 6. 10 with 4, 6, 7, with 2, 3, 10, with 9, 12, 16, with 1, 9, 12, with 7. Again, that is my $81 pick 6 ticket. Write it down. Take a picture. I'm going to show Davy's pick 6 here in just a moment. And then, gentlemen, we'll talk briefly about the Quoz before it starts. Here comes Davy's pick 6, ladies and gentlemen. This is Davy's $90. I asked them to give us a sub $100 pick 6 if you're interested. Davy, 10, 15, 16 with 6, with 3, 4, 10, with 9, 12, with 5, 9, 12, 13, 15, with an absolute monster that we all know, Life is Good, on the end. There's Davy's $90 ticket. Again, I would highly recommend you folks take a picture with your phone or a screenshot because we are going fairly quickly through these particular bets. Give everyone one more chance to write it down. There we go for Davy. And here is most likely the winning pick 6 ticket. So everyone, you got to hit this 3 or 4 times. Here's Phil's ticket, $120. Again, it's a $1 bet. 10, 16.
I went slightly over.
Yeah, that's okay. We know you guys in Liverpool, you guys got all the money. Us cheap Americans, we got to keep it under 100. 10, 16 with 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 with 3, 4, 10 with 12 with 112. That's not 1 through 12. That's the 1 and the 12 horse. With 5-7, he's throwing in Hot Rod Charlie in the last race as well. There's Phil's $120 pick 6 ticket. I see we do have some comments and questions, but we're going to get right to the handicapping. Davey, I'm going to go ahead and bring up on the screen, as everyone knows, the PPs. Give me a second here. We're going to bring these up as well, and here they come. And Davey, I'm gonna we're just because we have a short amount of time, gentlemen. Yeah. I'm not gonna go full screen here. Let's talk very quickly about your top choices in this race. This is the Quoz Sprint. It's 6 furlongs. It is a straight race. There are no turns in this race. It's for $1.5 million. Davey, who's your top selection?
My top selection would be Swayza, French filly, 4-year-old, favorite in all the Group 1s last year. Didn't win those particular 2 races. She was favourite in because of one was heavy ground at York. One was heavy ground, and the other one she was at York, where she was on the wrong side of the pace. The horses look sparkling in the mornings at Meydan, and I accept that the clock doesn't lie about Man of Promise, but I think Man of Promise hasn't faced the horse this good before. Of course, Man of Promise was in this race last year and was a 50-1 shot. So, Man of Promise may be the most likely winner, but I'm betting on Swayza, and I'm also betting on the Sean Levy mount. Irish jockeys come over for one ride. I always like that. And Summer Romance, the horse Levy's riding, was, in bunch finishes in all the top Group 1s last year in the UK. Had a prep in Riyadh earlier, finished 3rd. It was a 7-furlong race. If the race stopped at 6 furlong, she was the winner. So there's 2 fillies getting a little bit of weight to challenge the big favorite for me.
Now, we need to pay attention, everyone, very carefully what I'm about to say. Let me switch. I'm going to DRF, folks. The numbers and the post positions is a little bit tricky, especially if you're an American bettor. So let me explain. You see on the bottom of the screen there, Swayza is the 16. This is a filly. She's breaking everyone from the 11. Hopefully you can see that number there in the corner of the screen there. So when you watch these races, these numbers, they're saddlecloth numbers, or their program numbers, ladies and gentlemen, do not necessarily, or for the most part, do not correspond with the gate that they're coming out of. So when you watch these races, let's take Swayza, for example, you need to watch the 11 gate. Even though Swayza is the 16 in the program, when you watch the race, if you are backing Swayza, you need to watch the 11 gate, because that's where Swayza is coming out of. That is a very important distinction. We'll be talking about that throughout the day. Phil Edwards, who are you going with here in the Quoz, sir?
I think the favourite is very strong here. He seemed to be caught the high draws the last few times. He's caught the high draw again. He set some really fast sectionals last time. You don't see horses win by almost 5 lengths on this straight track at Meydan, and he wasn't stopping. I think last year he was maybe still filling out, still getting into his physique. He seems to be a whole different ball game this year. What I would like to say is that Davy just brought up Sousa. I think although she's got all the talent in the world, she could find herself horses coming tired in front of her today, and she may find a bit of traffic. What I would like to say, I would like to add Naval Crown too, who's got the low draw, but with the sprint tracks, the rails, the last couple of meetings have been out, so they're either out 4, 8, or 12 meters. They're running off the true distance today. So maybe it may be evening itself up again with the rails being true. So I'd just like to cover me back and have a few pound at a good price on Naval Crown.
Davey, Phil mentioned the outside draw. Davey, very briefly, and by the way, Swayza, I don't know if you saw this, Davey, in the this is why we need to show the pools. Right now, Swayza in the American pools is 18-1. Wow. And folks, we're going to be showing different pools here. This is the American pools right now. On the European site, look at the difference. Swayza is 8-1. This is Betfair. This is in the UK pools right now. So again, I've talked about this before. on shows, the difference is huge,
Well,
massive between the European pools right now and the USA pools. Go ahead, Davey.
yeah, on the World Pool, Swayzer is 20-1. The World Pool is in the attempt by the Hong Kong Jockey Club and other jurisdictions to commingle their bets,
Okay.
their pools, and it's currently 20-1, which is again huge. I mean, Swayzer is an American-owned horse, Strawbridge. I'm surprised the American horse players aren't aware, aren't going for that angle.
Yeah. Listen, I guess she's a filly. I'm not really sure why people are not keen on Swayze. I think Swayze is very interesting. I'll give you my 2 cents here. We have about, again, those of you watching, let's go ahead and put us full screen here for a minute so we can just talk about this. Again, there is about a 5 to 6 second delay. So as you're watching this right now on YouTube or this podcast, if you look at the TV is going to be about 5 to 6 seconds ahead, excuse me, of this podcast. So that's why we're also not going live, other than I cannot do it legally. So when I say they're about to go into the gate, they probably have already been in the gate for you folks watching on the TV. Just want to make sure there's going to be a little bit of delay there. I'll give everyone my 2 cents. I think Man of Promise is going to be very, very tough here. And gentlemen, I have a replay. Let's show a replay very quickly. I think we have time for that. This is Man of Promise's last race here as I go ahead.
The Super Saturday.
Yes, the Super Saturday. We'll go ahead and bring this up right now if I can here. Here it is. Now, Man of Promise is going to be this horse in blue. Another horse to look at here is a Case of You in gray.
So we've got a Case of You here, Howard. But what I'd like to point out, he's got the plum draw here today, and he's not out of this. He could easily improve on this 5 lengths and close that gap.
This is Man of Promise. We have a very short amount of time here before the race, so this is the last thing we're going to talk. Here's a Case of You. A Man of Promise here draws away. It was absolutely awesome. He's improving. He's going to be tough if he gets the right run. There's the Man of Promise winning very well over Case of You. There was also some others that are in this race that were really not a factor as all. Gentlemen, they're about to step into the gate. Davey, I'll have your last word. Any final quick comments?
No, I think we've covered it. The favourite probably wins, but if there's a boil over, I want the 2 good fillies, one on one side of the track and one on the other, to get involved and hopefully hit the trifecta. A boxed $5 trifecta is what I put forward.
Yes. All right, gentlemen, we're going to take you off the screen. Everyone enjoy the Al Quoz. It is the first race of the day here, race 4 at Meydan Racecourse, the Group 1 Al Quoz Sprint. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Wow, we start with an upset. One of the more fancied runners of the entire card here today, Man of Promise, just could not go by a Case of You. A fantastic ride, I thought, gentlemen,
Yeah.
on a Case of You, who just took it right to Man of Promise on the stand side rail, as we talked about. A Case of You here in the States, 16-1, a massive price to kick off the pick six. Davey, your first impressions of the race?
Well, I've got to give it up to Phil because he was leaning on he was calling the winner. I was calling the ultimate third, but he shouted the winner. So people got to listen to this guy, Mr. Phillip Edwards. I'll pass the mic over to you.
Basically, the rails changed the result. Better draw this time. Golden Highway up the rail. He's travelled all over, Man of Promise, really. There's not really an excuse that Man of Promise had. Maybe a bit more use could have been made of him. He's got a lot of speed, and he just seemed to keep hold of him for a touch longer than maybe he wanted to. But can't take the winners won well.
Yeah, Phil, about halfway, and again, we will try to show the replay. We will be showing the replay. That's the plan, at least today, folks. When it comes up on Twitter, again, I am not allowed to show the live broadcast. Phil, I sort of agree. Now, last time in the replay, Man of Promise was ridden with a lot of confidence. I'm not going to suggest that Man of Promise was ridden overconfidently today, but he waited quite a while to push the button, and A Case of You just sort of got the jump. I also noticed Man of Promise was on the wrong lead. I don't know with the Euros if that's as big a deal. Looked like he was switched to his left lead and just didn't look as sharp as he looked a few weeks ago. They've been saying all week they were slightly concerned, Phil and Davey, I'm sure you're aware of this, that this horse is better off of a longer layoff. Is it possible, Davey, this horse was a little bit over the top today? I
think so. And you see the hype all the time with these horses, coming in with great early form. But when they come up to the really big Group 1 race, I mean, that's hard to win,
Phil, over the top, or A Case of You just improved that much more? What would you say?
He wasn't tuned up. He's never going to leave the race in the maiden sprint last time. He's come here with one race in mind, and he's a fair trainer. He knows what he's doing. The horse has got there. The horse has got the rail. He's not give the rail up to anybody. He edged over slightly. The low numbers have come over to try and maybe get the advantage with them, but I mean, Sousa never showed. You needed to be on the speed there again today, which is shown not only on the dirt but on the turf also.
Yep.
So we need to maybe reanalyze what we're doing here today, because we could be looking like fools soon enough.
And by the way, happy romance. Let's not forget about this Richard Hannon trainer. That's the filly you mentioned, correct, Davey?
Yeah.
Who finished a very good third here.
She was drawn sixth, Happy Romance, and had she been drawn wide, she would have been bang there,
Huge run.
She was already bang there, but she had more work to do than the others.
She's got a big race in Euro this year. Your Happy Romance Day, which I think she's got a good race. Yeah. From 5 furlongs to 7 furlongs, maybe.
Yeah.
Now, something that is, of course, very different for our American viewers here as compared to viewers on the other side of the ocean and, of course, international racing. We do not get to see the fractional times within the race. Phil, in your estimation, did it look like they were going a pretty quick gallop? Or I would say perhaps not, because I think Man of Promise maybe slightly underestimated the pace and allowed A Case of You to go ahead on with it.
I'd be very surprised if they beat Man of Promise's time last time. I think he'd done a 108, maybe 108.5, something like that, off the top of my head. That looked like maybe a 109.
Yes, 108 flat. That is correct.
Yeah, maybe that I can't see that time being beaten there. What you've done, but he almost broke the course record last time, Man of Promise. But you weren't breaking any records there, I don't think.
No. And Davey, last thing, we'll move on to a few other items. By the way, A Case of You was 7-1 in the morning line here in the United States. Again, I talked on this show, I've talked many times. If you're going to be betting in a race, there are a lot of people in America. I don't want to throw any shade of disrespect to anyone watching, but the casual bettor here in the United States is not familiar with many of these horses. Now, A Case of You, by the way, did run in the Breeders' Cup. And Davey, I remember you and I, we did talk about this horse
Right.
last fall. We thought he was a bit interesting. He went off at 8-1. I'm looking in the Breeders' Cup, and just was too far back.
Right.
Obviously, this horse showed a lot more speed. What kind of upside or what kind of year do you think a Case of You might have this year?
Well, I mean, they were talking about they'd already won the Abbey, which is the big Group 1 in Europe, but the Connections wanted to win this because they want to breed. They want him as a stallion. So he's going into the paddocks with bells on right now. So and this is a small scale operator. I mean, this is the beauty of horse racing. As the rest of the world international sports gets dominated by oligarchs and all sorts, horse racing can still bring grassroots people like Phil, yourself, other people, and they can get a horse and they can run with the kings, and this is the great thing about the sport, and this has just shown it.
Phil, any last thoughts on what Davey said or anything else about this race?
I totally agree with Davey, yeah. It's all about getting different owners into the game, surely now, and syndication is probably the way to go forward this day and age. Get as many people as you can, as many badges off the race course as you can to get everyone in the parade.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've had 25 there on some days when we've been at Cheltenham and the likes of that. So just trying to enjoy it while you can.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen. And again, folks, I'm my own producer, editor. I'm looking at a zillion screens. I don't know if you guys saw I sent out on Twitter sort of the picture of what I've got. 2 monitors. I got an iPad. I got a laptop. I got a whole bunch of things going here.
Incidentally, Howard, I have to tip my hat to you, because just what it takes to get ready to be a guest on one of these shows is like immense. I mean, I don't know what.
Well, that's my fault. That's my fault. I put you guys through the ringer for this show.
It looks like you've been planning your outfit for a couple of weeks.
No, I only put it together in the last few minutes, darling. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah,
anyway. Thank you, Davey. I appreciate it. I try to. I do my best here with to get ready for the show. All right, gentlemen. Before we talk about the next race, and by the way, few quick comments here on the bottom of the screen. Let's see. Tom Espinoza from gentlemen. He's from San Francisco. Tom is up very early. It is 6:45 in the morning.
Morning, Tom.
Yes. Good morning, Tom, in San Francisco. CJ Andrews, who's a great viewer. We'll be talking about Harrovian and Pile Driver later, CJ. I think all of us are very interested in Pile Driver, who had a horrible trip last time, by the way, and gets Frankie Dettori, if I recall, in the one post. So Pile Driver is interesting. I'm not sure about Harrovian, but we can talk about him. James, Davey, you got a question on the bottom of the screen from James.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I got this hat in Marseille this summer. So there you go. Because I always wanted to go to Marseille since I saw the French Connection. So it was my attempt to be like Popeye Doyle in the French Connection. That was.
There you go. So Jim, just go to Marseille and you can pick that up. On the last comment we have before we move on, Trish is from Lexington, Kentucky, gentlemen. Trish, thanks for joining the show and getting up this morning. Yeah, Casa Creed. I'm not sure. Did you folks see what he finished? I know he sort of made an early move, I think, from the inner rails. I don't know what he finished, Trish. We'll have to go back and look. I did not like Casa Creed in this race, although he did run well.
He finished around 5th, Howard.
That's a pretty good finish for an American, I would say. Now, he finished second in Saudi last month, but I thought this race was much tougher.
If the race was over 7, Casa Creed would have finished in the top 3, but this is why it was wise not to play him in this race.
Can I just make a point on this last race here? I mean, we mentioned 4 horses there, me and Davey, and he finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The Case of You, Happy Romance, Man of Promise, and Naval Crown. So we didn't do too bad on that one, Davey.
No, very good. Listen, I tipped Man of Promise pretty hard in the podcast pool. Pick 6, where I have a lot of people playing. On my bigger ticket, I singled Man of Promise. Davey, I know we talked a little more than Phil this past week. And Phil, by the way, sending along our condolences to your family. Just want to say that publicly. But Davey, I thought Man of Promise. And listen, we're going to be right a lot today, folks. We're going to be wrong once in a while. That's the nature of the game. I think a lot of people, along with Davy and myself, and perhaps Phil, agreed that Man of Promise and Life is Good were probably the two most likely winners today. Man of Promise ran well. It's not like he threw in a dud. Casey, you just ran a fantastic race. That's the way it goes. But the pick sixes are alive for the Maidenistas. Is that what they're called, Davey?
Yeah.
The Maidenistas and the podcast pool. The pick six is alive with a 16-1. And also, I just want to mention to everyone out there, if you played the pick six, it does pay 5 out of 6. And last month, 5 out of 6 paid $4,500 US. Actually, it might pay $2,300, and I think I know someone that had it twice. I'm not sure, but I believe 5 out of 6 paid about $2,300 US in Saudi. So with this start, boys, that already means this pick six could definitely carry over, because there are a lot of tough races, and when you start with a 16-1. That makes this sequence very tough to hit. Very quickly, and then we'll get on to the next race here. Brad Anderson. Brad is from Florida, gentlemen. Brad, thanks for joining the show. Top of the morning to you as well. Appreciate it. Kevin's asking about Twin Spires in Arizona. I'm not sure, Kevin. Thanks for joining the show. I'm not sure why you cannot bet Twin Spires, which, of course, is a U.S. betting platform. Davey and Phil here. But DRF, Kevin, I would try DRF bets. There are many other platforms that should work. And Trish does confirm that Casa Creed, by the way, she said was in 5th. Gentlemen, let's go on to the next race of the day. And I'm going to go ahead and, as I say, switch a bunch of screens here. The next race is a fascinating race that we need to talk about. We have a lot of time to discuss this race. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why I selfishly believe this is the best podcast by far on YouTube today and in general. We give you deep dives while the other TV networks might be interviewing local personalities and doing sort of what we call puff pieces here in the States. We are deep diving from beginning to end on these races. So, gentlemen, let's get into the next race here. I'm going to go ahead and go full screen. And, Dave, I'm going to let you talk first. And we can now talk more specifically about all the horses here. This is the Grade 2 or Group 2 UAE Derby. It is about 1 mile and 3/16 or 1,900 meters, of course, on the dirt. It is 2 turns. It is a $1 million purse. It's also a points race for the Kentucky Derby. Now, as I go back on screen, many of these horses are not, I repeat, are not nominated to the Kentucky Derby. So even if some of these horses finish first or second, that does not necessarily mean that they will go to the Kentucky Derby. And I know Davy especially, and Phil perhaps you know as well. I don't mean to give you short shrift. But I know that we'll be talking about which horses are nominated perhaps and which ones are not. Will that affect your opinion or not? That is up to you. Davy, let's go to you first about this race. And what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I prefer Davy and Phil to actually go more in post position order as we talk. As you see on the screen, and again, it's not my fault, folks, the DRF PPs, which is what we use, goes in post position order. So if you're wondering, Howard, why is the 12 Rewa Homer listed first? That's because the 12 horse is going to be coming out of the 1 hole or the 1 gate. And gentlemen, it's a little bit harder for me to continually scroll back and forth. So if possible, guys, I'd like to talk about these horses in post position order as opposed to program order.
Right.
So I just want you to go ahead and make that adjustment if possible. We're not going to talk about every single horse, but we will be scrolling down as we go along. Davey, I'm going to go ahead and start with you.
Okay.
The 12 is a Japanese horse who's off the layoff. Do you give him any hope in this race?
Yeah, he has a chance. But what you have to, just to clarify what you were saying, there's nearly 20 Japanese horses were entered in the Kentucky Derby, and 3 of them running here have entries in it. The one that doesn't is the one I like the most, which is Combustion. But the late entry fee is only $6,000, so that's neither here nor there for the owner, Sheikh Mohammed. Rhea Hamare gets Christophe Lemaire, who rode everything, for a great success in Riyadh. But it hasn't had a race for 153 days, so that's probably a knock against it. But it's a solid horse, and you wouldn't want to discount it. I wouldn't put it in my A column or And well, I haven't played the horse, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ran a good race or even won.
Yeah, you know what, guys? I'm gonna go ahead and we are live. It's the first time we're doing a live show of the races. I'm gonna go ahead and change my opinion because I think that our viewers are gonna be most interested in the horses we like the most. So I apologize, guys. I will do my best as I have the information in front of me. It's just not quite as easy to find the horses. You're going with, you mentioned Combustion, who by the way is my top choice as well. And I just lost I'm not sure. Combustion. Let's go. Let's see what Combustion. Here are the live right now. Combustion right now in the U.S. betting pools. I see 4-1, and on Betfair in the UK is 7-2. So Combustion is the slight favorite. Davey, tell us what you like about Combustion here.
Well, Combustion is second favorite on the World Pool. On the Hong Kong boards, he's 5.3, which is about 4-1, and Pinehurst is 4.4. We're about three, just over 3-1, 10-3. So, but that's changing all the time. I like Combustion because of several reasons. It's broken 2 track records already in Japan. When it ran its last race, which is a Kentucky Derby point scoring race, it got a nice trip, but it wasn't going backwards when it crossed the line. It was going full bore, and it had a good little bit of distance between him and the rest of the pack. Another fascinating thing is that it's a Japanese trained horse, but it's bred by Godolphin. Godolphin managed to jump through the various bureaucratic hoops in Japan to be allowed to breed and race horses in Japan under their flag. I don't know if any other ownership group has been able to do that. And they've been quietly breeding away because just like the Japanese have Kentucky Derby fever, so does Sheikh Mohammed. So this is kind of a nice fusion of the two sets of connections and jurisdictions who want to win the Kentucky Derby.
Davey, let me interrupt on the screen here. I'm going to show bits and pieces of the last race that Combustion ran. This is the highest in the stakes. And also, and I want to bring this up, Crown Pride. I am fascinated with Crown Pride in this race today. Crown Pride.
I am too.
And so is Phil. I think Davey is also. Crown Pride is 21 morning line. Crown Pride is also coming out of this race as you watch at home. Crown Pride is going to have some trouble at the start and elsewhere. Crown Pride is the 9 in this race. Combustion is the 3. So as we go ahead and roll this race through, watch everyone the 3 here. The 3 is Combustion on the inside. The 3, I'm going to freeze it right here. The 3 is right here. Breaks very well. This is Combustion. This is Crown Pride, the 9, who got, you can see, an awful, look at this, awful start, held back. Combustion, Davey, has some tactical early speed, which I think might come in handy the way the track is playing today.
Yeah, for sure. And he's drawn well. He's drawn perfectly in 6. You wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Let me go ahead and fast forward here in this race. Combustion stayed on the inside. As Davey said, broke a track record. I'm going to freeze it right here. Crown Pride has had a lot of trouble and has been wide right here. Combustion is right here in the red cap. And Davey, I thought he showed a nice turn of foot coming up the inside, although he did get a perfect trip, I will say that.
Yeah, but good horses get perfect trips because they're fast enough to get themselves in the positions to get one. I mean, at that moment there, he went on the inside. I mean, he was primed to go on the outside of the horse, the other horse. So, you know, he was able to pick and choose which way to go, and he saw the gap and he went for the gap, and he moved away. And if you watch, he's still going away. You know, and it's hands and heels, really.
Now, I right here, if everyone can see my arrow, this is Crown Pride, and we're not going to, we don't have time to, take 10 minutes to show every replay. Crown Pride lost by about 3.5 lengths, guys. He was, I'm going to go ahead and take this off screen. Let's go back to the PPs. Hold on 1 second here. So, and I'm going to also put us on screen a little bit. Crown Pride, horrible start. And what you also didn't see is this horse was a good 5 to 6 wide. So Crown Pride, horrible start, 5 to 6 wide, and only lost by 3 lengths. And there's Crown Pride on the screen. Phil, I don't know if you fancy Crown Pride. I think you do as much as Davey. Is there anything you'd like to add? This horse also, Phil, started his career going 9 furlongs, so you would think this horse definitely wants distance.
Definitely. I mean, he's already ran, was it a mile and a half, 1/8?
Yes.
So he's, to me, that you can put a line through that last run. I do like Combustion, but he had the most perfect trip round in the Hyacinth. Every gap appeared when he just needed it. Ray, the Japanese one, Ray were Homer. I mean, this horse is bred to absolutely excel over this type of trip. By a Japan Derby winner out of a Monsieur Mare, running over 7 furlongs. He's going to absolutely gobble this trip up. I do like him. He's got the one draw, which is going to be fascinating to see how fast he can get. If he can hold a position, he's very live in this today. But can I just add, Pinehurst, I think he, with this track the way it's riding at the moment, he can act like a conveyor belt. So he could actually add that bit of stamina just by staying on this conveyor belt of a fast running course at the moment. I've altered my bet to include Pinehurst now because my initial fancy is Your Coast. He's going to be so far behind this. He's going to eat a lot of kit back, and I'm afraid I don't think he can win this today. If the track is riding as it's rode in our first 2 dirt races.
I think. Listen, you people that are tipping at home, you have to adjust to the track profile.
Got to adjust. You have to.
Now,
adjust.
Phil, you and
Can I say something on that? Can I say something on that?
Yes, go ahead, Davy.
It's all well and good to say to adjust to the track profile because how it's playing, but the temperature is changing dramatically now. So the track will be changing. So I mean,
it's still daylight, Davy, at the minute in
Dubai, and I agree with you. But you know, it might not be playing this way come the Dubai World Cup later on tonight.
I think we're going to see the same.
Yeah, Phil, you followed Dubai. Can you very briefly talk about a little deeper about the discussion of how the track might change when the sun goes down, etc., and the kickback also?
Obviously, it affects the speed of the track due to the heat throughout the day. The kickback as the day goes on gets a lot less severe. Looking now, we still got another half an hour of maybe daylight there in Dubai. I can't see the track changing much as it is at the minute.
Now, the first 2 races were won by wire to wire, and one was a 40-1 shot. Again, I don't know if they were going slow or if it was the track. So I'm not completely ready to say, gentlemen, that it's speed favoring yet, but it seems to be that way, and it usually is. That's why when Arrogant won, for example, that just made that effort so extraordinary. Yeah. Guys, let's go back to the horses. We're very interested. By the way, Crown Pride, I see 18-1 right now in the U.S. Guys, we might have to stop at least more than 1 minute before the next race, so I got my phone so I can get my bets in. Davey, who else do you fancy here other than Combustion and Crown Pride?
Well, I still like the Russian horse.
I still like the Russian horse, Dave. I backed the Russian horse anti-post. I backed Crown Pride at 25-1 anti-post too.
Yeah.
So obviously my bets are on. I can't change that, but you can adjust to try and green up at the end of it and get yourself into some sort of profit. So I think you've got to follow what you see, what your eyes are telling you for the first 2 races, and maybe put the lone speed. He could actually get quite an easy lead, Pinehurst, if he wants to. If a horse called Summer is Tomorrow, who's drawn outside of him, he doesn't break as quick.
I think Bendug is probably going to go the gun runner.
No, I think they're going to sit on Bendug and maybe take 3rd or 4th. I think the yard's other runner, Summit is Tomorrow, with Mikhail Barcelona on. I think he'll be hell bent on the lead. But Bendug, I can definitely see not wanting any part of the speed. I can see him maybe sitting 3rd or 4th. And I think Bendug actually got an outside shot in this.
Okay.
One thing to bear in mind is Combustion is just to the outside of Pinehurst, and Buick's not going to let Flavien Prat, just have the conveyor belt to himself.
I want to put us back on screen because all 3 of us, and again, these are just our opinions, ladies and gentlemen. Do whatever you like. Our opinion all week long, and Phil and Davey and myself, we've been talking about these races for literally 5 or 6 days. Our opinion all along. And gentlemen, please tell me if I'm incorrect, is we were against Pinehurst from day one. Yeah. I'm not sure the Saudi race was that good. This is another furlong and a half or another, 300 meters. That makes a big difference. So in general, I'm against Pinehurst. I never thought in the States he was a 2-turn horse. Seikafu was coming on late last time. So I'm against Pinehurst again. But with the track profile, we'll have to see. Azure Coast, by the way, we have 5 minutes. I'll go ahead and show the replay, gentlemen. of Azure Coast last time here, if I can get this up on the screen. Okay, let me go full screen here. Azure Coast is right here, folks. You see all the way back in the red, making a huge move. Bendug, a horse that was just mentioned by Phil, is right here. There are also some local runners in this race. You also have Kiefer and Quality Boone are in this race as well. Right here, I believe, is Quality Boone, if I recall, and Kiefer is also further back. I'll just go ahead and let it run. Phil, I'll let you talk about this replay. Azure Coast coming from the clouds for the second straight time, very impressively.
Yeah, but normally when you see a horse close as fast as he done here, it's normally because the horses are stopping in front of him. But this horse is totally different. He was banging out 6 second 100 meters throughout from 800 from the 800 meter pole. So he took off at 800 meters and he didn't stop. He was accelerating through and he was dipping under 6 seconds per 100 meter on a few occasions. So when he hits top stride, he's going to be a tough horse to stop on the outside. It's whether he gets free track in front of him, like he has done on his last 2 occasions. If he gets free track, I think and the track is not as speed favouring as we've seen. I can't see a horse stopping him with that type of finishing that he's got, basically.
Davey, we've I would say about 3 or 4 minutes before they start entering the gate. Any other thoughts, comments about this race?
I think we're right to play down Pinehurst. I think it's between the Japanese and the Russian horse, and that's it. If the Argentine horse hadn't been sick on shipping, I know it's an older horse and carrying more weight, he might have been a threat. That's Irwin, winner of the Argentine Derby by 9 lengths. But when you hear a horse is sick on arrival for a week after shipping, you just have to rule it out, despite what the form book had been telling you. Yeah. So. And the rest of the local horses, I don't see doing anything, or even the other shippers. The other Uruguayan trained horse, Quality Boone, is probably the best of the local form in terms of the horses that are being stabled here, but that probably isn't good enough.
We need to talk about Bill Mott's horse quickly. I'll just mention Gilded Age is a horse that I was very interested, guys, when he ran in the Withers, which is a Group 3 race last time. Early voting won. Un Ojo, the horse that came second, came back and won. And I'm going to go ahead and show this for our American viewers here. It's coming back as a live race. So you see Un Ojo won, and early voting is a nice horse. Gilded Age was wide and sort of flattened out. I'm not going to say I was disappointed. The track profile, though, today might not work out well. And I just have a feeling that Azure Coast is probably a better closer from behind than Gilded Age. But I do want to mention this horse. The Gilded Age right now is 20-1, so he's really not taking a lot of money. I'm a little surprised. I thought this horse might take money. I have to say, guys, and this is part of what we do here, I think Pinehurst at 7-2 or 4.5 in the UK is an awful bet at those odds. I wouldn't bet Pinehurst at anything less than 7 or 8-1 personally. Well, any opinion on his odds?
I took a piece of the 5-1 offer before.
Okay.
Basically, this track can ebb, can extend your stamina when it's running like this.
All right, gentlemen, they're about to go in the gate here. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, and I have to get my bet in on Crown Pride. So good luck to everyone. And the UAE Derby is going to start in about 30 seconds, and we will come back with analysis. Again, Phil, Edwards, Davy Lane doing a fantastic job. Good luck in the UAE Derby. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, boys. There we go. It's an easy game. I don't understand why people think this is so hard. 15 to 1 on Crown Pride. I did not have the try. I didn't have that 14 anywhere at all. But I had a win bet on Crown Pride. Pick sixes are alive with 2 monster scores in the first race. Gentlemen, great job. I hope all of you scored at least a win bet on Crown Pride. Davy, this horse was a little bit wide, but he broke well. Has a monster stride. Very good ride. I love the aggressiveness for this horse on the ride.
Yeah, that's the Kentucky Derby winner right there, folks.
Whoa!
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 Really?
The Derby, the Kentucky Derby. He's nominated, correct, Davy?
Yeah, he's nominated, and it's a relatively weak 3-year-old crop this year, is what I've been hearing. Why not?
I don't know about the relatively weak crop, but this horse looks like he wants to run all day. Pinehurst, I think, was up close. Again, it's hard to tell, folks, and I apologize. I think Pinehurst was up close and faded, Phil. It's just that, listen, I'm not going to say we told you so because it's a very tough game. It just never seemed like this horse wanted distance, and an excellent job by the Japanese, by the way. And there's Damian Lane, Phil, and Davey, I'll let you talk about this too. Damian Lane, jockey, coming in from Australia, Phil, with the win.
Yep. Yeah, he's just an outstanding jockey, isn't he, Damian Lane? He's been there, done it. Was he in Japan for a while? He's got a great record on dates in Japan.
Yeah, and I was checking his record on the excellent Japan Racing Authority website. You know, he's a 20% rider in Japan when he's gone there, and he would have been riding but for COVID for the last 2 years. It was no accident that with top-class Japanese-based riders coming over to Dubai, you have to ask yourself, why did they get on the back phone to Damian Lane? Why? You know, there had to be a reason, because he's been a proven top-draw rider over there, and he's the man they wanted for the job. So the other guys, who knows exactly who's connected to who and who's already made calls, but that was a significant clue. If you weren't aware of the jockey booking, you should be. You have to follow these things. If a jockey is coming halfway around the world for a ride, you've got to know about it.
I just watched the replay to my left here. Pinehurst, I don't know. I'm not saying he pulled up. He got bothered a little bit, and he basically had nothing in the lane. No. I'm hoping the horse is okay. We already had someone. I'm not going to get into someone on the chat said we don't like Pinehurst because this is Baffert hate. Listen, folks, I want to make this very clear. I'm going to speak for myself. I'm a punter. I'm a handicapper. I don't care who trains his horses, their background, whatever. I look at numbers. I analyze, and my opinion had zero to do with Bob Baffert. We're not going to get into this situation. And by the way, Davy and Phil, I don't know if you heard, but Bob Baffert did transfer some of his best 3-year-olds into some other barns this week because he knows that those horses aren't going to be able to run in the Derby under his name. A big story here in the United States. Big story, of course, overseas is what happened in France. But we're not going to get into that. We got a lot. Let's get to the comments. Let's see if anyone scored here. Let's see here. Yes, absolutely. Ramon scored. Thank you very much, Ramon. I appreciate it. Brand Anderson, tip of the hat. We have A. Roth. Great pick. Thank you very much there. Let's see who else here. Horsey Dave had the $2 exactor for $1,350. Great job.
Speed held up again.
I'm sorry.
And that conveyor belt, horse wasn't.
I'll tell you what. Right now, I'm ready to say there's a bias, which means Life is Good might win by 50 lengths if that's the case. Yeah. Damon, great bet there. Damon said, I don't care the odds. I trust the HHH Racing podcast. I'm just going to single Crown Pride and go all. Damon, thumbs up to you, buddy. Awesome job. Let's see who else here. Jim is alive to the pick 3. Wow. Again, I believe it's called a treble, correct? You guys see it? So the pick 3 has got to be monstrous with a case of you and then Crown Pride. Good luck, James. He's got Drain the Clock, who's my top choice, and a horse that these two gentlemen over here did not like for some reason, Dr. Shivel. So good luck, James, with your pick 3. Jotham Slater, $5 exacta. Look, this is a perfect time, guys. I want to bring this up right now. I'm going to go to my, I'm going to bring up my, my page real quick. And I want to make sure I'm very, very clear on this to everyone, okay? Let me share my screen. This is, right now, what you see on the screen here, this is my YouTube page. On the right side, guys, on the right side, it's a little bit hard to see. On the top right, there is a PayPal donate button. If you'd like to send a tip, and listen, we're not saying we're broke, but I don't know about you guys. I'll just be very selfish. If someone gave me a nice horse and I cashed for $1,000, I'd throw them a few bucks. That's just me. But do whatever you want, folks. You don't have to give us anything. If you want a tip, if you just like the program, you like the show, you want to give Phil and Davy some money, feel free. Let me put them back on screen. If you guys want to donate, Phil and Davy, if you want to give them money for spending 4 hours today, go ahead and send money donate through the donate button on PayPal. Put in the note, for Davy and Phil, and I promise I'm an honest guy. I will send that money to them if you just want to tip to the show, or you don't want to send anything. But listen, guys, if you just cashed on there, come on. Give us a break. That was a 15-1. Throw us a bone, folks. Right there at the top right of the screen. You can throw us a few bucks and donate through PayPal. All right. Now that I hope I didn't lose any viewers, I'm not trying to be selfish or anything, but listen, that's a great score. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go switching a bunch of screens. I'm trying to think what else Boondog, the 5, Phil, stayed on nicely. The gun runner called for third also.
Yeah. The 2 Seaman horses ran absolutely out of the skin. We got a bit of pace bend, dude, which I was surprised at really, but you were going some real fast sectionals there. I'm looking forward to getting the trackers data up and having a quick look through what they were travelling through. But it looked really, really quick. It looked something like 24.5 maybe for the first quarter.
The announcer said they were going quick, and I trust his eyes much better than ours. This track is definitely speed favored. Now, I will say, as we were talking, I was looking to my left here. There were horses coming from behind. They just couldn't get there. So I think there aren't as many dirt races left. I think you have to upgrade speed. Life is Good was an obvious, of course. In the sprint, I guess you can upgrade where's Craig? I'm sorry, what's the name
Wonder
of the
where
horse?
is Craig?
Thank you. Wonder where Craig is. Wonder where Craig is. I think it's something like that. Sorry, no disrespect to the connections. You know what? The last thing I'm going to say, folks, then we're going to move on. And Phil and Davey, I don't know if you see this because there's not often a lot of speed bias on grass racing in Europe. But what I see once in a while in the States is when people see this, there's always going to be a race. Let's put us full screen. What's going to happen now is there's always going to be a race where the jockeys see, well, listen, speed holds. They all go to the lead or try to go to the lead, and then you get your closer. So I'm not going to sit here and say a closer cannot win on the dirt tonight because ultimately the jockeys are not idiots. The trainers aren't idiots. They see what's going on. You might see more horses trying for the lead. So you might see a horse come from behind. Last thing, I wouldn't say there's an inside bias because Crown Pride was in the 3 or 4 path, guys, the entire race. So I'm not sure it's a rail bias as much as it could be a speed bias. Any thoughts about this 3-year-old crop, this race in general, before we move on? Davey, I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, you just have to look at how the Japanese run their racing. They're clean. Everything to do with the Japanese racing jurisdiction is the way the rest of the world should be running their races, and as well the Hong Kong guys as well. And that's why they're producing the best horses, because they're choosing the best horses to breed with. The money from the punter is flowing back into the system. Everything about them is the way to go.
Yeah, the Japanese are. I'm sorry, Phil. Go.
One for the Kentucky Derby, Davy, this horse, Crown Pride, he's got absolutely no chance in the Kentucky Derby.
Well, we'll just have to disagree on that.
Wow! Go ahead, throw punches at each other through the. Davey said Crown Pride is going to flat out win the Derby. Phil says he has no chance. As the dumb American, can I chime in, please, for a second here? Crown Pride will be able to get the distance. That's a big factor because there are many horses that are going to be at the Derby that might have trouble with the distance. The problem I see is he looks very one-paced, and when you have a big 20-horse field in the Derby, if this horse gets into any kind of trouble, I think it's going to be difficult. I don't think he's going to win the Derby, Davy, respectfully. Phil, I wouldn't say he has... Wait, is Davy still on? Okay, he's still on.
Yeah.
If I just throw out, if he goes the Derby, I think he has an outside shot at maybe a lower placing third or fourth. That would be my opinion as of this moment. There's a lot to unpack there. He's a nice horse, but he does seem a bit one-paced, and frankly, I'm really not sure how strong this race is compared to American 3-year-olds. But it'll be fascinating. Trish wants to comment. Trish loves the format. Oh, there you go, guys. They want a reprise of the HHH Racing podcast here at Royal Ascot. We'll have to talk about that when the time comes. Maybe we'll go ahead and do that, Trish. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move to the next race. We have about 18 minutes, perfect timing to the next race. Gentlemen, do you need a quick break, or are we good and move on?
Well, I'm fine.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I need to press a few buttons here and get a few things set up. The next race on the card here, let me go to my form. Everyone out there is like, where's my next 15-1 winner on the HHH Racing podcast? We're going to do our best here, folks. Let's go ahead and bring on the screen. There we go. I'll go ahead and go full screen. The next race, this is for the sprinters. It is the Grade 1 Dubai Golden Shaheen. They're going about 6 furlongs. It's, of course, on the dirt. It's a $2 million purse. Last year, a horse named Zandon won the race wire to wire. I believe he was 40-1. Unfortunately, broke down after the race and had to be euthanized. The horse that came second in that race is back in this race. There are 3 American runners in this race. I personally think they are all very, very live. Davy, actually, Phil, I'm going to let you go first. But Phil, before we go to you, Phil, let's go ahead and look at the odds. And this might be the first time you guys are seeing. I'm going to just scroll down. You see the odds there on the left side of the screen. Dr. Shivel is 3-1 right now. Drain the Clock, you see 9-2. Those are 2 Americans. You also have Everfast, who used to be an American. You have Red Lizelle. There's a horse I know both you are very interested in. Currently 4-1, taking a lot of money. This is the horse that finished second last year. However, is a closer, and that might be a major problem today. And then wonder where Craig is for Louis Saez and Brittany Russell, 8-1, maybe the speed of the speed. Phil, I'm going to go back to the past performances and let you go first. Who do you fancy here in the Golden Shaheen, Phil?
I like Red Lizelle. Before, obviously Zandon last year, I thought Red Lizelle was given quite a bad ride by Ryan Moore. Although he tracked the rail at the back here, he was given far too much to do. He also broke the track record as well as Zandon last year. The track was playing pretty fast as it is today too, and he still found the second gear, which he absolutely took off when he hit the straight.
Phil, can we show? I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but I do want to show some replays here. I told you, I'm prepared. So right here, right all the way on the left side of your screen, in the back of the pack, is Red Lizelle, came from last. The horse that won that we talked about is Zanin. So I'll just go ahead, watch from the back of the pack, the horse in red. Phil, go ahead as I roll the replay. Go ahead.
So it was actually drawn widest of all this day, and Ryan's took him back off heels to try and get a better trip, basically a better rail position. He gets a dream run through the outside. He switches to the outside, and he just here now he changes his legs, and he just absolutely takes off. Yeah. And he was setting some pretty fast closing sectionals here this day. If he can keep just a little bit handier with King Kawada on, who knows the horse inside out, if he can just keep him a bit handier, and it doesn't have to be ridden cold out the back. I think he can still pick these up and run them down later on.
Yeah.
Davey, any thoughts on Red Lizelle here?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, what's interesting is they ran it in a Group 1 race over a mile most recently in Japan, and I think that was pretty much not to win the race, but to set him up for winning this race. So I like the cutback, the 2 furlong cutback. Every race this horse has ran in Japan, it's gone off favourite, and I've been on it once or twice myself. This is not. This is a top Japanese dirt horse, a dirt sprinting horse, and you'd be foolish to ignore it. And I think the two Americans have knocks against it. I think the mental health of Dr. Schivel has to be examined by a psychiatrist after going up against Flightline. So that's something to bear in mind. And that's true. You know, we laugh, but horses can, you know, they can get, you know, when they get knocked around, you know, they can withdraw into themselves a little bit sometimes, you know, and that, you know, any horse who was running against Flightline would have been in that category. So I know it had issues in the race and so on. And Drain the Clock, you know, if Safi Joseph had made the trip, I'd be more interested. I still like the horse. I don't know. You'll have to tell me. I mean, does running around Gulfstream, you know, on a tight dog track that the Gulfstream is that going to prepare him for this? I don't know.
Well, since you're posing me the question, first of all, let's go back to Dr. Schivel. Dr. Schivel, a horse that people in the States, of course, know very well, ran much better than I thought in the Breeders' Cup. I really didn't fancy him in the Breeders' Cup, to be honest. Ran a big race. I will say the favorite in that race was Jackie's Warrior, who is a very nice current 4-year-old on the comeback trail. Didn't run very well in that race. I don't think the Breeders' Cup Sprint was the strongest race ever. Now in the Flightline race, apparently after the race, Davy and Phil, Mark Glatt, the trainer, said that Dr. Schivel did not scope well, was a little bit was under the weather. Was at the beginning stages of an illness. I have no reason not to believe that because he just ran so poorly, although Flightline is a complete monster. I do like the outside posts, and I like Flavian Pratt, and I like the tactical speed. Apparently, Dr. Schivel's been working very well. Let's talk about Drain the Clock. This, by the way, Drain the Clock is my top choice, everyone. And I like the 9-2. Drain the Clock was mainly a speedball last year, Davy and Phil. This horse basically only knew one way. You can look at the form and you can see that for yourself. Also, and everyone at home, if you're not familiar, if you see some red numbers here in the form carefully, those are time form US pace numbers, and red color coded means the race was very fast early. So he's been involved in very fast paces early. Had a beat Jackie's Warrior, the best sprinter last year in the country, in June. He did tail off a little bit, but here's what I like, Davey and Phil. If you look at his last two runs, two back, he won with a 94 buyer. That's a particular, a speed figure here in the States a lot of people like. And here's what I really like. Even though he lost last time, Davey, this horse is learning how to rate. I watched, let me put us three back on camera. Even though Drain the Clock lost, he got a 102 buyer. He ran against a good horse. That race was a complete prep race. It was a means to an end. I have no concern about that race. But the most important factor I want to say is he's learning how to rate. I love when a horse learns a different style. And in his morning workouts, which Phil and Davey, as you know here in the States, is a much bigger deal. You can see the morning workouts. They time the morning workouts. Right. You can take my word, everyone watching at home, that Drain the Clock has been in behind horses. They're teaching him how to chase after horses and pass. So I like the preparation for Drain the Clock. I'm a little bit concerned that he's been a little sweaty in the morning. He's had a little bit issues acclimating to the track. So I'm going to try to watch on the screen very carefully how this horse is pre-race in the walking ring. And Phil and Davey, if you see anything, or if anyone sees anything at home about how Drain the Clock is acting in the post-parade, please let us know, although it is very warm there today. Drain the Clock is my top choice. Last thing I'll say, and I'll let you guys jump in, I like Red Lizelle. I'm a little concerned this might be too short a distance. And again, the track to me is a major, major potential issue for Red Lizelle. Davey, I'll let you continue. There are some other horses in this race. Wonder where Craig is. There's some other. Eastern Crown is an interesting horse as well. Go ahead.
Eastern World is interesting.
Eastern World, sorry.
Yeah, probably the best of the locals. Quickly on Wonder Where is Craig. I mean, he's drawn 11, and if he's a speedball from the Mid-Atlantic, drawn 11 is going to be difficult here, no? I mean,
I think he might be able to cross over.
Get to the lead?
It's going to depend on the break. We all know the Americans generally are faster. But I do want to mention, again, look at the form, guys, and people at home. This is important.
Yeah.
You see the form, there's no red. You do see some blue, though, correct? So what that means, Davey, even though this horse is fast, he has been getting away with slower fractions up front. So, again, that's something to keep in mind. But he is fast, and I'm sure Saez is going to be a hard send here.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be a hard send, and therefore he'll probably run out of gas when it matters.
Do you want to mention Eastern World? Phil, Davey, I'll let you go first. Eastern World ran a fantastic race last time.
Yeah, he did, and he's a horse that's been going longer distances. And in running that race, he's run a time comparable, I think, to some of the Group 1 American horses. Phil could speak to this better, but there's one thing people have to bear in mind when they're looking at times. You know, the times of races around the world start when the gate opens. In the States, they have this sort of a run-up before there's a pole for the starting pole, and that can be in different places at different tracks. And these are only fractions of seconds, but when you're working out the races, you need to know about these fractions of seconds. So Eastern World is a long shot, and underneath in an exotic maybe. And it wouldn't be unbelievable if it ran into a victory here either. But Phil can speak better about Eastern World. He's liked that horse for a while.
Eastern World, he's been reinvented as a sprinter. He's been showing exceptional early speed in the Carnival and also in a race called the Dubai Creek Mile. He was beaten by Tuz that day, but it was over the mile. But he went through 6 furlongs, and I think it was 1:11:08, and it was the fastest time throughout any distance that anyone's gone through 6 furlongs on dirt this year at Maidan. So last time they basically put him in the Nabal Shamal. They've took him off heels because they realised we've got a fast horse here. He doesn't need to lead every time. They've held on to him just a tad longer, and I thought he won at Nabal Shamal pretty easily in the end. He is a quick horse. He has got speed to burn. He doesn't have to lead. The draw is the downside, but maybe you've got the fast American horses who will want to go forward, and that may leave him being second in the second closing pack, hopefully. If he's there at the bend, I think this horse will be staying on best of all. And that's, around 25-1. He's a pretty big price for the best of the locals. Well, I think he is.
He's 17-1. Let me see here. I just lost. Whoops, sorry, that was the previous race.
He's 20-1 on UK books and 18.0 on the world pool.
Eastern World, I see 16-1. He's, I believe, 17-1. Yeah. This is the UK. This is Betfair that everyone's looking at the screen right now. Pretty. Actually, Wonderburg Craig is getting a little more. Money in the UK. That's 7.5-1. Actually, interesting enough, the odds are somewhat similar here compared to as I'm looking here in the States. I suppose we shouldn't find that surprising, Davey and Phil, because even you blokes over in the UK respect the American sprinters, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. Sure.
That's what we do, right? I mean, you guys are better on the turf in general, going long. We're better on the dirt sprinting. I mean, that's just, pretty logical. Trish mentioned Switzerland. Davey, this is a horse that I believe is 9 years old. I can go look. Yeah. Won very well two-back, but that was in the slop against Much Easier. I'm just not sure that Switzerland used to be a very nice horse. I'm not sure he's the same as he used to be.
Well, maybe he's better than he used to be. I mean, he was a horse that was very, very expensive, and people expected big things, and he became a money burner, and then he was sent to Dubai, and I won one of my biggest hits on him there last year at Dubai when he was 33-1. So I wouldn't rule him out totally. He can be dangerous. Sometimes these sprinters, and it happens with the turf horse as well, the sprinting horses, when they're older, they can actually mature and get quite good, around that 7, 8, 9 years of age bracket. I think we had an example of that in the Breeders' Cup last year with our friend from Ron Moquette's horse. So, this is, this is not impossible. So
let me, as I'm going to make a quick adjustment to the banner here, Phil, go ahead and talk for a minute, if you don't mind, about some other horses, or maybe talk about the pace in this race, Phil. Who you think, other than Wonder Where Craig is, will go to the lead? And how do you see the race shape or flow developing in this racer?
Well, we had a big change to the race. Well, not a big change, so, but the horse that probably would have led today was Miras.
Yeah.
Blessed with so much pace. But there's still enough pace in here to think that we can get a closer, hopefully. Obviously, we've got the American lads. We've also got good effort. He's a UK horse. He has got speed to burn. Good, fast, all-weather performer in the UK. We've got
And he's taking money in the UK.
Is he? We've
Yeah,
got
he's
Fuzzy
20,
Nassau,
he's
the
14,
Bahrainian horse.
25.
Madabal, who's drawn in 14. He's been winning on turf, but you know he's got a lot in his brain to say he could handle this dirt. But
Yeah,
he's
actually.
14.
They actually sent him to the United States last year. He ran at Belmont in October in a Group 2 race, did not run very well, but he was on the inside. And I remember the race because people were very fascinated with this horse. He bumped early, checked. He is taking money. He's 14-1 here in the States, Phil.
Yeah, all right. Well, he's got the speed to try and get over from there, but he got put on his pace by Dancing King last time, didn't he? And we all know what Dancing King done at the Saudi Sprint last
Dancing
time.
Prince, yes.
Dancing Prince.
By the way, can I put myself on screen? A strong A in our ABC ticket, Dancing Prince, if you guys remember, who crushed. By the way, why is that horse not here, do you think?
I think he's done enough. He'd probably go back home and have one of the big Japanese sprints on his horizon there.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
We've got Alteric in this, who I'm sure Sam Hitchcock will want to use that good draw in 4.
What post, Phil Alteric?
Alteric's in 4.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
He's got plenty of speed, Alteric, and he also stays a bit further. He could have another perfect position. Hell of a price, but for me, I think Eastern World can just trump the best of the locals. I don't know what Davy feels, but what do you feel about the Fuzzy Nass horse, David? Do you think he's got the speed to get over from 14?
No, I don't.
No.
He's
bred for the job. He's Speightstown out of it, unbridled Songmare. So
it's a Speightstown, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah, Speightstown. We're talking about Mobadel, I believe. Listen, who is this horse beating? And number 2, he's got a very wide draw. They cost a lot of money. He was actually sold at Keeneland here in the States, the September sale in 2019. As you can see on the top of the screen, guys, if you're not familiar with the PPs there, sold for $375,000 US. So this horse was very highly regarded when they bought him.
Yeah, I also think this horse is going to try and get to the front 2 or be on the pace. So we've got enough in this race still to get some decent sectionals out of there, and hopefully we have a pace collapse.
All right, I see the horses are behind the gate as I'm watching, so I'm going to go off. Top pick, Davy, in this race. Very top pick.
Top pick, Red Lozelle.
Phil.
Red Lozelle, but Eastern World.
And I'm going with the Americans. I'm going with the 3. Drain the Clock. I don't mind the price. I think Drain the Clock, he's breaking from he actually does break from the 3 hole, and he's also the 3. I believe, I want to check that. I think that's correct. Again, yes. He is the 3 and breaking from the 3. I think Drain the Clock is going to stalk behind the speed and go by. All right, let's go ahead and watch, everyone. Great analysis. This is going to be the Group 1. Golden Shaheen. Good luck, everyone, with your bets from Meydan Racecourse in the United Arab Emirates. It's the 2022 Dubai World Cup card here on the HHH Racing Podcast. Oh boy. Well, the pick six has gone down the drain, but
It's gone.
not only will no one have the pick six in the United States, I'm almost guaranteed that. I think at this rate, there's a chance 4 out of 6 might pay here in the United States. So, Switzerland, I think Trish Smith likes Switzerland. We talked about Switzerland at the end. I got to be honest, guys. I don't know where this effort came from. I mean, I know he used to be a good horse. Davy, hats off to you. You said the horse could win. I didn't think the horse was going to be, had it anymore. I found the pace interesting because I was focusing, of course, on Drain the Clock mainly. So I hope some other people can tell me about some other horses. Drain the Clock did not break great. Drain the Clock, it stumbled slightly, and then Irad rushed him up. I have no problem with trying to rush him up, but I think the start really cost Drain the Clock. And again, Red Lizelle made a nice move, guys, like we thought. But on this track, on this day, I think you just have to be up close to the pace. Was Red Lizelle also very wide, guys, as well?
Yeah, he had to come wide in the end. He was so far behind. Jesus Christ. He's done well, Quad, to actually get him running on the outside through that kickback. That winner. How's that winner won that race?
Yeah,
you could have given me 10 picks. I wouldn't have picked Switzerland because I just thought that he's a little bit long in the tooth. And he's just come back to form. I mean, you can't deny the horse that he's 8-year-old. Yeah. He's normally best fresh. I'd always thought he was best catching first time out every season. Hats off to him. Hats off to Seymour and a great ride by Tiger Shea.
Yeah,
Phil, I just want to echo your sentiments. This is a tough game. I totally agree. I would have picked 7-8 more horses before Switzerland. I don't like 8-year-olds. He was not. I mean, he won 2 back, like I said, but it was a weak field. It was also a sloppy track. I don't know where this effort comes from. Hats off to the connections, obviously. Congratulations. What a warrior. He's now won over $1 million. So there were so many other horses I thought were interesting. Who was coming with Red Lizelle? Oh, there's Drain the Clock. Drain the Clock made a nice run. He should have been up closer. I'll have to watch the replay.
Was it Chain of Love coming?
Or was it Chain of Love got third?
Yeah.
Wow. Wonder where Craig is. I wonder where Craig was. Where was he? Did he not break? Does anyone know?
You know what? I didn't see him mentioned once, to be honest with you, in any commentary.
I mean, that affects the race tremendously. So this is one of these races for me. And listen, if you folks had Switzerland, congratulations. Anyone who had Switzerland out there, let's look at the comments real quick.
That was Dr. Shevel coming with Red Lizelle, I think.
There's Trish. Congratulations, Trish. Trish, I applaud you. Well done, Trish.
Well done, Trish.
Not a lot of other comments. I'm guessing a lot of people are crying in their beer, so to speak. I thought Switzerland was very, very hard to find in this race, Davy.
I didn't, but it's you can't necessarily shout Switzerland for every race like I often do, as Phil will know.
Alex said, wonder where Craig was 3 wide, turning for home, but was flat. So, but wonder where Craig is the speed. The only chance wonder where Craig had a chance to win, at least my opinion, was just to wire the field. So once I didn't hear his name called, Phil, I agree. I knew he was in a lot of trouble. I don't know what you take out of this race. This is very disappointing for Drain the Clock. I wonder where Craig is. I don't think was a serious threat in this race, really. I think this horse might have been a little bit over, could we say, for a jolly, perhaps, Davy?
No.
Wondering where Craig is?
You have to look at facts on the ground and not just the form. When you hear that a horse has been sweating and people have noticed it and comment on it for a couple of days, and then maybe the owner goes to the barn because they've invested money and taps the horse on the head and said, I think he's doing better now. You don't really trust them. You have to go by what the non-biased observer says of the horse. He's been sweating for a few days, and that put me off, even though I played the horse before he went sweating because he was 5-6 to 1 at the time.
We're talking about Drain the Clock now, correct?
Yeah, Drain the Clock. Yeah. So you can't just rely on your form book. There are lots of variables, and one of them is finding out what the horse is like when it travels, how it looks when it's in the mornings and working out. And this is lots of information, and not everyone can spend the time to gather all of that. That's the way it is.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I will say, and again, because I was focusing on Drain the Clock, he did not break great. Usually he breaks fantastically. And the not breaking well and then rushing up is a is usually a trip that does not work out well, whether it be an American horse or a horse from the UK or from Asia or anywhere.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people watching, and if you are watching or you just put us on, thank you very much. I'm your host, Howard Kravets, along with Davy Lane and Phil Edwards from Liverpool in the UK. Fantastic UK punters as we are going through the Dubai World Cup card. Let me remind everyone, please, down below, got to do the right, there we go, down below the video player there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, please make sure you subscribe. If you are new to the channel, and especially if you're enjoying the show here, I do a weekly podcast, sometimes more than one podcast, usually on Wednesdays or Thursday nights here in the United States, where we tip handicap races, have wonderful guests on from throughout the country. Please make sure you subscribe to the HHH Racing podcast. If you're watching live, call a friend and say, hey, this podcast on YouTube is knocking it out of the park. I'm really enjoying the coverage. Check it out. Call your friends, neighbors. We have a great number of viewers watching. We appreciate everyone. Before we go to the next race, gentlemen, I just want to very briefly talk about some promotions I have here on the HHH Racing podcast. This is my YouTube channel. Again, if you guys go below the video player here, and actually we're not, let me see if I can go live here so we can get this going here. Here we are live. Let's go live. You're going to see me talking about me. Here we go. If you go live below the video player there, and you press, there you go, you press show more. Press show more below the video player. I have 3 promotions going on right now on the HHH Racing podcast. It might be a little hard to see, but you can see for yourself. I have a promotion with BetUS. It's a fantastic betting platform that you can see there. If you sign up with a minimum $50 deposit using a credit card, and then you use the promo code RACING3H, you will get a free 125% a bet off your deposit. It's a great deal. BetUS offers up to 200 games a day with live betting, with each game between 300 to 400 different props to bet on with a fast and easy to use interface. BetUS live betting platform ensures that your bet is made quickly to ensure that you will hit the odds available at that time. With mobile live betting available, there's no better way to enjoy the game today. Again, BetUS, you can see it there. Please sign up, use the promo code, use a credit card over $50, and you get a free 125% deposit, guys. I made a $200 deposit a few weeks ago, and I had $250 of live money to play. Also, if you're interested in my race day blog, I have an excellent weekly race day blog. You can see it's number 2. It's through Patreon. You can see it right there. It does renew at the beginning of each month. If you're interested in the race day blog, I would recommend you wait until April 1st. So wait till next weekend, actually next Friday, and go ahead and purchase that race day blog. It's very inexpensive. It's only $13 for the entire month, or about $3 a blog. I give ABC, pick 4, pick 5 grids, spot plays like Crown Pride, for example. I've been very successful with the race day blog. Highly recommend. I know Davy gets the race day blog. Phil, I'm not sure if you get that, but I will definitely put you on the list of getting my race day blog weekly. That's number 2. And then number 3, the podcast pool. If you're interested in pooling your money together, other viewers of the show into pick 4s, pick 5s, pick 6s, please email me, hkravetshorse@gmail.com. Again, hkravetshorse@gmail.com, and I will send you information about the podcast pool. All right, gentlemen, let's go on to the next race. Again, congratulations, the Connections of Switzerland. We have seen some massive prices and some roughies here so far in this card, actually from start to finish. Even in the first races that we did not cover, there just been bomb after bomb today. So we'll see what happens going forward. Guys, let's talk about the next race here. This is race 7. This is the grade 1. I'll go full screen here. I'll get our picks up also in a second. This is the grade 1 Dubai Turf. They're going about 1.1 miles or 9 furlongs, which is 1,800 meters. It's a Group 1, $5 million is the purse. Last year, this race was won by a horse that is in this race, Lord North. Let me go ahead and bring up the picks for everyone. You see the scroll on the bottom of the screen. Phil, we're going to go ahead and start with you in this race. Who do you fancy in the Dubai Turf?
I backed Schnellmeister. I backed him a 5-2 earlier in the week. I think the Japanese form's just outstanding at the moment. It has been for a good few years. The Mile Championship, he finished second to Grangalegler, who's an outstanding racehorse. Gets Christophe Lemaire. Maybe if he was on last time, they've changed the jockeys from the last race. I mean, he may have beaten Grangalegler if Lemaire was on this horse. I think he's going to love the distance. That's the main important thing here. He's stepping up a furlong, which I think is going to suit Absalom perfectly. I would like to make a little shout for a complete bomb in here. It's Desert Fire.
Before we talk about Desert Fire, Phil, can I show a replay on Schnellmeister? Because I have a lot of replays I wanted that I prepared for the show. Again, there are a lot of people that are not familiar with these horses that are watching. Schnellmeister is going to be right here, folks. This is the Manichi Okan. This is a grade 2 last October. This was, I believe, a 1 mile race, but you're going to see the close. And Phil, I'll let you talk about this horse who comes from here. Takes a great job by the jockey. I think this horse wants cover, by the way. Gets covered up and then comes swinging late.
Yeah, this is over 9 furlongs as well. This
this is a mile and 8. Sorry.
Yeah. So he can travel. He doesn't got to be completely dropped out. I mean, I think Christophe Lemaire is aware of his compatriots in this race. He's going to go off like a scalded cat. And I don't think this fella is going to want him to let him do his own thing up front. I think he will be ridden about third, fourth, or fifth. I can't see him beating this. I've had a really nice bet on this at 5-2. I think the field isn't the best field for a Group 1 of the Dubai Turf standards. I think Everton points to this horse. The amount of improvements he's got again this year, going as a 4-year-old. He's got that Kingman turn of foot, what they all seem to have. Also, a German-bred mare. So it's so much to like about the horse. He's actually getting back into around 6-4, 13-8 now. He should have been that anyway at the beginning of the week, but I thought 5-2 was a hell of a price earlier on in the week.
Alex R. wants to chime in, saying that Schnellmeister top company. Yes, he is bet, Alex. He's 8-5. I see right now. Actually, no, just went to 5-2, but was taking more money. Alex mentions Panthalassa. We'll come back. We'll talk about her in a minute. All right, it's a female, right? If I remember correctly. Sorry if I'm wrong about that.
No, he's a horse. He's still a full horse, Panthalassa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You mentioned a long shot.
Yes,
did you fancy a bit, Phil?
I complete bomb this. I've had a bet on this of 50-1 with a bookmaker who's playing up to 4 places each way.
Who is the horse?
It's called Desert Fire.
Okay.
He won the Al Rashidiyah at Maidan in January, and he was positioned perfectly to win that race. I'm just thinking, with this front runner from Japan, Panthalassa, I think this horse is going to be sitting in the perfect position again. Whether he's got the class of Schnellmeister, it remains to be seen. But this horse can outrun his odds today, and I think he might be able just to nick third or fourth. There's a lot of much ado about nothing in this race for me. You've got a lot of horses in here coming over from the UK for the day out. The My Oberons, you've got Harrovian in there. I know one of your viewers asked about Harrovian. If this horse couldn't win last time at the Saudi Cup, at the Neon Turf Cup, I don't think he can win this race.
CJ Andrews asked about Harrovian at the beginning of the show. You see on the screen, he doesn't mind the 40-1. My issue with CJ with this horse, and I completely agree with Phil, is he just got an absolutely perfect trip last time and could have got it done. And this is a better field. Is there anyone else you'd like to mention before I toss it over to Davy? Phil, we'll have more conversation. Is there anyone up front you'd like to mention right away?
No, I think I'm done with that.
All right. Schnellmeister or bust, it looks like. So Phil is going with the favorite in this race. Davy always likes to find some prices. Davy, I know you fancy Schnellmeister as well as I do. Who else do you like in this affair?
Yeah, well, I played Snellmaster earlier in the week as well. I think it wins the race. I offered to your listeners a trifecta, a box trifecta to try and make it up just in case something goes wrong. And the two horses I would include with that were Mohafeth. Now, Mohafeth recently this winter had testicle surgery. He's what you call a rig. I don't know if you remember the famous stallion Selkirk or similar type of thing.
Originally, yes.
Yeah, so that was taken out. That was that might make him that might clear his legs a little bit and might help him ease a little bit of pain. And then the one filly in the race, Saffron Breach, second in the 1,000 Guineas, gets Holly Doyle coming over for one ride only. Like earlier today, we saw Sean Levy come over from today's opening day, really, in the British flat season on the turf anyway. And Levy came over for one ride, and Holly Doyle is also coming over for one ride, and it's this. So that to me would be the perfect box trifecta. Or if you want to be more particular, Snellmeister on top and then box Mohafeth and Saffron Beach underneath.
Right, everyone can see the picks on the bottom of the screen. I just updated them, I believe. So again, the scroll on the bottom of the screen, there you go. If you look right now, everyone, there is everyone. I'm going $20 to win with Schnellmeister and $1 try with Schnellmeister, etc. You can see them. There's Davy with his $5 try box, 9, 12, 16, and Phil is putting 40 to win on Schnell. So we're very much on Schnellmeister here. Let's talk about Lord North, because this horse earns, needs to be respected. Won $3 million, is a 6-year-old, is 5-1 right now here in the United States. Let's see what he is there overseas. What do you guys see in the betting market right now overseas here?
He's getting some money back into 4-1.
So Schnellmeister, he's second choice. I do not like Lord North as second choice. While we have just a few minutes, and Davey, I'm gonna let Phil talk about this because I know he's an expert in this. Phil, there are a lot of people here in the States that are not going to be familiar with the exchange. I'm going to see if I can.
Right.
I'm trying to get to the race. Let's see. It's right here. Is it this one right here? Right. Very briefly, just for people to know, I know we could have an hour show on this. This is the exchange right now.
This is the betting exchange, yes.
The betting exchange through Betfair. Can you very briefly tell the American bettors what they're looking at here?
Okay, so if you look on the back all, that is the amount of money you can actually back that horse for at this moment in time. So it's punters v punters, so it's just normal people like ourselves who can become the bookmaker. And there's, as you can see there, now you can back at 2-1 Schnellmeister for $145. The liquidity isn't too good over in your end by the looks of it there. But over in the UK now, you seem to be, let me just have a quick look on my own. So
sure,
yeah,
no problem.
He's available at 2-1. So he's fit. What was he on the post books on your tote there? Was he 13?
Our totes, he is. Sorry. Now I'm having some. Here we go. Need to go to the next race. Currently, here we go. Schnellmeister, 5-2.
5-2. So that on the blue side of things is the amount of money you can back it for. Now on the side where it says lay all, what's in the pink salmon color, this is where you can lay the bet off to basically for the horse to lose the race. So say you have $10 for him to on the lay all at 3.05, your liability will be $20. So if you have $10 to lay on him at 3.05, your liability will be $20, but you'd be winning $10 for him not to win the race.
Mm-hmm. So the interesting thing here is you can actually bet the horse not to win, not just to bet the horse to actually win, which is something that's very foreign, no pun intended, to the American bettors.
It's very handy if you have, say, the pick 3, 4, 5, or 6, and you're waiting on the last leg, where you can actually lay some money off the potential winnings, what you may be collecting on the tote. So you can you can have a quick look on the tote, see what your potential is to win, and you can then lay off, say, for $100 to get your stake back, maybe.
So, and here we like to sort of back up our money or hedge, I guess would be the word. It's a way to basically hedge your bet, betting one horse as opposed to having to put a win bet or some other way. It's fascinating. We could talk about it forever, but I just wanted to bring that to the attention. It was Davy. I didn't have a chance to look at it. I think it was available in New Jersey or is available in New Jersey. I apologize for not knowing.
Yeah,
but it is a trend that we're trying to develop here in the United States.
Yeah, it was opened up in New Jersey about 4 or 5 years ago, but about 18 months, 2 years ago, they closed it down. It just wasn't successful. But I'm sure they'll try. I'm sure they'll try again.
I just want to backtrack.
Hollywood Park was sponsored
Doctor,
by Betfair.
Sorry,
Park was sponsored by Betfair, but your field was closed down. I think Betfair actually was the sponsor of Hollywood Park.
Okay,
so
right.
It has been introduced over there. It just may not have caused on as in the UK.
I just wanted to go back to the last race. Dr. Schivel did finish third, by the way, and the 50 cent pick 3 paid $8,700. The 50 cent pick 3. So I'm sorry to. I think it was James was alive to. Jim Plars was alive to a pick 3. Sorry about that, James, that you didn't hit that, but I don't. That's hard to catch there. Let's talk about some other horses. Sorry, Lord North. I have a replay to show. This is Lord North last year, guys, coming over the top on the outside in the same exact race. This was his only race of the year last year, but Davy, he did it very well here on the outside.
Yeah, he did it very well, but against the weak field. I mean, the trainer has admitted as much. And he's, the money coming for him is because Frankie Dettori is riding for John Gosden, and most of the punters who aren't paying attention in the UK are quite happy to have a few quid on that. It had throat problems per John Gosden, and that's why it hasn't been seen up until it's come back at Lingfield recently. So, if it was primed, we would have seen a bit more at Lingfield than we saw, I think.
I'm against this horse as well. I don't like. He can win, but I don't like all these layoffs are a little bit concerning. I'm not sure he's at his best. By the way, guys, Al Farik is second choice right now in the U.S. betting. He's 7. Al Farik is 7-2 right now in the U.S. betting. Phil Edwards, thoughts?
I'm looking at 50 to 1 on the betting exchanges for Al Farik.
Wow. Let's go. Let's put us on screen. This is fascinating. We've got this horse is 7-2 right now in the U.S. betting markets, and you said he's 55-0, 5-0 to 1 in the exchange in the UK.
33 to 1 now. There's been some change for him, so he's back into 33 to 1 now.
Well, I mean, I here. This is a perfect look at the form, guys, on screen here. I think this is maybe the horse can win. To me, this is an example of American bettors just seeing a lot of 1s and 2s, guys, and a lot of like good efforts. This horse doesn't near class up. These local races, although he did finish second to Real World, who's a nice horse, but I mean, does he actually class up to these other horses, Davey? I didn't think so at all.
No, not at all. I mean, he's 33s on the bookies I use. I'm not really an exchange player, so that doesn't make any sense. That could be anything. I mean, this is now you're tied in, you're commingled with the Hong Kong pool. I mean, Mr. Chan in Hong Kong could have put his life savings on the horse 5 minutes ago for all we know, and that's why it's that price.
Would that be more than we have?
Probably.
Let's talk about another horse. We've got it. We got an American in this race. I'm trying to get to. I'm sorry about all the scrolling, folks. I know this is a little bit frustrating for some of you. Well, let's talk about these two horses. Panthalassa is a 5-year-old. Davey, we talked about this horse a little bit yesterday, quite a bit. Did something that you don't see too often. Went to the lead, opened up, and won very impressively. But you personally feel this is a weaker field. This is a tougher field. You don't think he can hold on today?
No, he can't hold on. And sometimes jockeys get the fractions wrong, and the chasing pack it got it wrong, and he got away with one. I mean that happens. So I wasn't impressed with the last half a furlong at all. So,
Phil, are you against Panthalassa also? I know the connections said that this horse is absolutely going to try to go to the lead and wire the field.
Yeah, I'm against them. Basically, it's so hard to win around this course and distance from the front.
Yeah.
I can only remember 2 horses ever winning from the front on this turf course, and they were in the Dubai Gold Cup, what we've had earlier today. It's so tough to win round here. I think he can be placed, but I think to keep out Schnellmeister, he's going to have to do a very much career best.
Now let's talk about Colonel Liam. Colonel Liam is 7-1. I have to be honest. I thought he'd be lower in the American pools. The fact that he's, I'll say Luke Cold, if there's such a word. He's really not taking a lot of money. Leads me to believe that my general thought is correct. I do not like Colonel Liam in this spot. He's a nice horse, but he's a nice American horse. Last time when he won the Pegasus, that was not a strong field. Never Surprise, who finished second, who was another Todd Pletcher trained horse, came back at I think 1-5 or 3-5, when it was absolutely awful, where he didn't get the lead. I think Colonel Liam has an outside shot to get a placing. And the reason why I say that, in my opinion, guys, is basically because what Phil said. Other than Schnellmeister, I think there's many horses here that don't do a lot for me. They're nice horses. They're nothing special. So if Colonel Liam can run his best race, I think he's got a shot to be around at the wire. But I'd be very surprised if he won. And then going back to another horse that I'm personally more interested in than perhaps these other two, Muhafeth. Davy, Muhafeth is a nice horse. You think he's been ridden incorrectly a little bit by Jim Crowley last year? And
No.
William Haggis said that he's always wanted to turn this horse back in distance a little bit.
Yeah, not incorrectly, but just a bit overconfidently. I think they were expecting him to blow away a field in a group.
Okay, I apologize.
York last year, and the jockey held him up because he was just going to blow past them in the last half a furlong. And lo and behold, he may have got it wrong by a few yards.
I think that was down to the trip, Davy. I think this horse, he doesn't stay a mile and 2 furlongs.
Oh, really? You think that? Yeah.
I think they want to drop him back in trip this year. I don't think they want to be going up any further.
All right. So,
all right, gentlemen, I'm sorry, we got a minute to post, and Muhathef is 11-1, and a horse I hate is 9-2. So that means I got to take out my phone. Let's get everyone a chance to put some bets in if they haven't. It's going to be a great race. There's about 1 minute until they go to the gate. Good luck to everyone here.
There's money for Saffron Beach, by the way.
I'm sorry?
Money for Saffron Beach.
Saffron Beach is live, the filly on the outside. Good luck to everyone in the Dubai turf. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here. It's a strange situation because we don't know if it's a dead heat or not. Let's go ahead and bring back our wonderful friends from the UK here, Phil Edwards and Davy Lane.
Yeah.
Davy is usually right almost all the time. I got to say, Davy, you were a little bit wrong about Panthalassa here.
Yeah, I mean, the previous races, my gut was telling me Switzerland, etc., etc. But on this one, I was just miles away, miles and miles and miles away. I ruled out both of them, and I ruled out the third as well. So that's
he hasn't gone off. Yeah, he hasn't gone off like a scalded cat. He's actually rated them a bit cheaper, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You think he's got a bit of a cheap speed there, and if he's hung on, it's another great ride.
Yeah. Davey and I talked about this race, and you in general when it comes to these horses from Asia and Europe, I will vow to Davey and Phil because. Just like they would vow to me with the American horses. I mean, they're much more familiar with connections with horses. The only thing I will say about this Panthalassa and Davy, we talked about it. I can't tell you how many times in the States, I know there's people watching live right now that will agree with me, a horse that just gets loose on the lead in a distance turf race and wires the field when on paper the horse just doesn't look like he fits. Yeah. And I won't say the horse doesn't fit, but it looked like they were going pretty slow. Although the third place finisher came from pretty far back, so it was a fairly run race. I was watching Schnellmeister very carefully. Guys, it looked like he got bumped a little bit on the turn. Yeah. He was trying to angle out Phil, and it looked like he ran a little bit of traffic. I don't know if it was that much of an excuse, because he was able to extricate himself. He just didn't have the kick.
No, he found absolutely nothing. I don't think he was travelling from a long way up, me personally.
Yeah.
If he had enough inside of him, he would have pulled out a bit sooner and barged his way out of that little gap. But he didn't seem to want to go through the gap to me. Just never turned up. Very flat.
I think Saffron Beach was actually on his outside and sort of kept him hemmed in, and the jock tried to angle out. It just wasn't a clear run. But I will say the top of the stretch, I thought he probably was going to win. I mean, he did angle out. He had a clean run after that. He just didn't kick on. Lord North. Davey was wrong on Panthalassa. I'll eat some crow with Lord North. I thought he could run well. I didn't think he'd run this well. He ran fantastic. John Gosden is just unbelievable. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys that, but I mean, he's fantastic. To get this horse to run this kind of race again, I'm looking at the TV. I'm not sure they even know yet if it's a dead heat or not.
No, it's still photograph.
Okay, but it looks like, I think it's going to be a dead heat. And they said on TVG here in the States that'd be the first time.
Heat. Come through. It's a dead heat.
Okay, it is a dead heat. It's confirmed by Phil. That is a dead heat between Panthalassa and Lord North. Davey, go ahead.
How does that affect US exotic pools, Howard, in terms of what do they do in terms of pick fives and all the rest of it?
Yep, it's a great question. So what happens is if you have Panthalassa and Lord North, then you potentially can hit your bet twice, is basically what it means. So you can, and obviously the payout won't be as great though, because obviously they have to pay out more money in the pool. So if you have a pick 3, pick 4, if you have both those horses, then you'll have it twice. If you have one of those horses, you'll have it once, but because there's 2 winners, it's not going to pay nearly as much as it would. So basically, what were the odds on these 2 horses, guys? Let me go back and look.
Yeah.
Panthalassa, I see 13-1 here in the States, and Lord North was 9-2. So they're showing the photo finish right now on TVG as I'm looking to my left. I say right now, of course, people are watching at home have already seen it. Definitely a dead heat. So Lord North, who's 9-2, instead of giving that $11 mutual on the win end, is going to be much lower because the win pool has to be shared with Panthalassa and vice versa. So basically the payouts will be less, and in the horizontal wagering, it could pay out twice.
Right.
Muhathef, by the way, Phil, blew the break. I don't know if people saw that. Yeah. And then rushed up on the inside. He's better than what he showed today, I think.
I think he is, yeah. I think he's got a big season in the UK, this horse. Probably back down to a mile again, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay. Vindegard is the horse that came on late. was coming out of the Hong Kong Mile. Vindegaard lost last time, only 2 lengths to a really fun, exciting horse named Golden 60, who is one of the best milers in Asia, actually in the world probably right now. Again, another two Japanese horses finishing right there on the wire. I mean, if you're not paying attention, they've always been good. But, Davy, the Japanese and Asian contingent have obviously turned a corner in the last few years on the international scene.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, you could see it coming if you've been paying attention for a while, and it's not going to stop now. I mean, it's just going to keep the trainers keep coming down the track, isn't it? I mean, this is where the epicenter of racing is heading to. It's heading east. You know, this is where the big prize money is. This is where the best horses in America and Europe get sold to. Jim Bolger's best horse, arguably one of the best horses in UK and Ireland in the last couple of years, was sold to Japan. The top American horses get sold to Japan. I mean, they're going to keep breeding more of these things,
The breeding is very good. By the way, Alex, congratulations for being alive in the pick 4. I'm just looking at some other. Again, please make sure you comment there on the bottom of the screen. I got a lot of things going on, folks, so bear with me here, as it's by far my most complex, but I would say most fun podcast I've had in the 122 renditions of the HHH Racing Podcast. Again, we're here with Davy Lane, Phil Edwards. Phil, let's talk about going forward before we talk about the next race. Yeah. Of all the horses you saw here that just ran this race, how big a season can Lord North have? Are there races that they're going to be pointing him to? Can he stay healthy enough to run in several races?
Yeah, I think he'll probably go down the same route he went last year. You've got the probably the Jumpmont International at York. There's not much around this year. He could be live in that in a couple of big 1 mile, 2 furlong races back in the UK and Ireland this year. I wouldn't rule out going back to Ascot. Probably take out the Prince of Wales, what he won last year. Showed a fine turn of foot that day to beat Adayab. I wouldn't put him past him on that performance. He's still no back number, and you'd say he'd probably come on again from that too. You've had right off him, and you've given the pipe up the rounding field.
Davey, how strong a race do you think? How is the form going to play out of this race? Do you think some of these agents might come to Ascot or come over to Europe?
I don't think so. I think this is probably their big prize now. I mean, they're not really. Why would they do that in terms of prize money? Some of them might think about the prestige, but the 2 Japanese horses in the frame today are still not, I think, the top draw horses in Japan. So I mean,
Vindegaard's closed the gap on Lord of the Flash. He was beating 3 or 4 lengths last year, and he's probably been beat ahead there.
Yeah.
So I mean, that horse has improved to close the gap on again this year. And, he's unlucky not to take the race out. Vindegaard in the end.
Yeah. I'm still in shock. I didn't like all 3 of them. So.
See,
I'm a little. I'm sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
I got the race so wrong. I mean, I've never seen a horse lead like Pamfinas has done there, like he's done today. But he got such an easy lead on the front. So, I mean, he had no pressure at all. He ambled over from his draw, and he just took a pull on the lead, and he's gone round there in pedestrian sectionals, and he's a fairly classy horse. You can't give a horse like that type of rope on the lead.
Yeah.
Phil, I hear your frustration. I've talked about this on my show. I've never been on the back of a horse. I've won 0 races in my lifetime. I don't like to criticize jockeys in general. They're putting their life on the line every day. I know both you know some jockeys. Phil, obviously, as an owner, and I've become a new owner. I think we'd be very respectful, but I just don't understand in general how some of these jockeys just let a quality horse, as we say in America, get loose on the lead without taking any pressure in a $5 million race. I just don't understand it.
I mean, the only horse with the potential to do that was this horse, and he was up in stall 12. You've just let him tack across, do what he wants to do. He took up Paul Yoshida on the front, and normally you see him in Japan, he races away 5, 6, 7 lengths clear. He was never more than the length and a half, 2 lengths clear of this field.
Yeah, Colonel Liam did make a go at him at one point, but he didn't have anything.
No. No.
He did. I got to be honest, and I hope this came across. Before the race, he did exactly what I thought he'd do. I said he's got tactical speed. I remember, Davey, I talked to you about that. I thought he could get a good spot. This is just the difference between, in general, American horses and the foreign contingent. If Colonel Liam was the goods, if he was Tepin, or if he was one of some of these great American horses you've seen win successfully over at Ascot, whatever, he would have kicked on and been right there. He's just not that quality. He's just not that quality. But I mean, the jockey gave him a good ride. He gave him every chance. All right. I think we should move on to the next race, because I don't know about you guys. The next race is, to me, if we thought these races weren't tough enough already, the Shima Classic, the next race, to me, is the most wide open race on the entire card. You folks, if you are home watching, if you want to bet a race, I mean, this is the race to bet on. Let's go ahead and bring up the PPs. This is going to be the penultimate race. By the way, it only says 13 minutes to post. So we probably shouldn't have talked so long about that last race, but they're trying to move things along after the dead heat. So let's just jump right to it here. Phil, we'll start with you. They're going a mile and a half. It's for $6 million. It's it's a 2,400 meters. This is a longer distance. This is a two-turn race, so they are starting in front of the fans. It's a very short run of the first turn. It's an absolutely wide-open race. Who do you fancy, Phil, in the Shima?
I fancy Authority again for Japan, Christophe Lemaire on it. I thought he was pretty impressive in Saudi. Yeah, this horse hasn't got to make all the running, but he seemed to add a new string to his bow that day. I've heard a lot of people saying that they were coming back at him at the end. They weren't coming back at this horse. He sat up on the horse and allowed him to coast on through the final 100. I just think this horse had come back from the tennis show where he finished 10th to World Premier that day. But he's come back after the summer break and he just looks a monster to me. I mean, we all know the Japan Cup form and how strong that is. Actually finished ahead of Chariot. Although Chariot, it's a tough race for a 3-year-old to run and may have a bit more improvement. But I also think this horse has not stopped improving too.
Here's the race. If you want to talk it through, Authority is right here.
Yeah, well,
and Contrail's coming over the top. Yeah. You also have Chariot is right here. Gonna get bothered a little bit.
Yeah, Authority had first bite of the cherry at the leaders this day, and although Chariot we got a small bulk in there, he's not closing the gap again at the end to Authority. And although he is going to improve Chariot, but so is this horse too, and he's really grown into that big frame he's got. I think he's going to get a perfect position here today. As I said, I don't think he'll lead this race. I think he'll sit close up to the pace. You've got 4 at the top in there who probably will go on. You've got maybe, Without a Fight who likes to be up there. I just think 9-1 for an each way price. It's going to be tough to keep this horse off the first 3. And for a 9-1 shot, you don't get very many 9-1 shots where you go, you know what, stands out as a real good bet at 9-1. This. Mm-hmm.
I thought this horse would be taking more money. He's 7-1 here in the States. And who do you like for second or underneath, Phil?
Second place, I do like Chariot. I think the 2 Japanese horses have got it between them. I do not like Dubai on it. I think he's a 1.25 mile horse. He may want a bit softer ground. He took a ton of money in the UK. Also, so was Alan Carr for Tom Marcon riding for Haggis.
Yeah.
He's been very well backed. Now, this is a horse who beat Lord North last time, and he beat him pretty easily, although Lord North was out for the trial run. Alan Quoz took him to cleaners, basically. But for me, he's a B horse in the UK. I don't think he's actually got the class of the 2 Japanese horses. I mean, you put this Alan Quoz in the Japan Cup, he isn't placing in that Japan Cup last year.
No.
So you've got your beer. Is this horse out for the prep? I heard he was going for the Man of War sticks in May. So is he out? Is Charlie Appleby trying to prep in this race with a view to taking out the Man of War? I mean, it sounds absurd to say it, but for me, that's what he could be doing.
Let's take a look at his run. I I'm going to try to. I didn't actually prep for this, so I'm going to get to the spot where he makes his run there. So he's right here, Yabir. This is in the Breeders' Cup last year. Guys, I'm completely against this horse today. I do not think the field was that strong. Broom, who's basically a Group 2 horse, finished second.
Irish bolt.
And when Tarnawa did not run his race, I thought anyone could win this race. He's got a very big, long stride. You can see, look at the stride on this horse. But I think he's going to need one off the layoff. And frankly, I just don't think the form of this race is that strong. You see, he barely gets up over over Broom. Davy, I don't like Yubir at all. What do you think about Yubir coming back off the Breeders' Cup here today?
Yeah, I don't like him either, and I think he is getting prepped for some easy money in the States, and this is a good way to prep him. And that sounds ridiculous, but sometimes it's not just about the money; it's about the relevance and keeping the name and the brand out there. And it's good for Dubai, and it's good for Sheikh Mohammed to have winners in the United States. He likes that, the prestige. So it'll be all over the papers when the horse wins races in the United States, and that keeps the natives happy. And maybe that's what they're planning to do. So,
Davy, who do you fancy in this race, Davy?
Well, the horse I fancied was Uberleben, the winner of the Japanese Oaks. And I'm watching the money pile in for Alan Kerr, and that makes sense now with Lord North running well. I'm watching the money piling in for other horses. And Uberleben, who I literally knocked people over to get the bets on at 16 and 20 to 1 earlier in the week, is now 33 to 1.
Not in the United States, 16 to 1 here in the States, Davy.
Well, my bookie is often offering 33 to 1 right now. Actually,
okay.
40 to 1. It's gone up to 40 to 1.
My goodness. Here we go. I'll go ahead and switch to. Go ahead. You can keep talking.
Yeah, it's up to 40 to 1. Well, maybe I'll just have a little flutter myself then, if that's the case. Another one. But
go have that flutter.
But I found as you asked for a bet, and I found it difficult to break them down, the first and third in the Japanese Derby, this European form. And I suggested to the viewers to box a trifecta with 5 horses, and those were Alan Kerr, Huckham, and then the 3 Japanese horses. So that's the 3 I advise to do.
I'm looking at these odds on Betfair. Yabir, the favorite at 7 to 2. No, thank you for me. No, thank you at all. Alan Kerr, like you said, is taking money. I do want to talk about Alan Kerr in just a minute. Are any long shots or who else? This is a huge field here with a lot of possibilities, Davy. Who else do you like here?
As I said, Stella Veloce, Sharia, Alan Kerr. I don't like Authority. I'm not with Phil on that at all. So and Uberleben to take it out. So as I say, those I don't like Pile Driver either. So
okay,
I boxed 3 out of those 5 to finish in the top 3 for a trifecta. That's what I would do.
I will say, so Uberleben is a horse that Davy is very interested in. Who rides Uberleben, Davy?
Damian Lane, my namesake.
There you go. Who won on Crown Pride earlier tonight, everyone. So,
yeah. And I was struggling to find out which one he took first because I thought that would be interesting. It probably looks like he took the Crown Pride ride first, and the pickup.
I want to talk about Pile Driver for a minute. Pile Driver, I'm not going to show the replay from last time against Authority, but got an awful trip, was uncovered, 4 wide, didn't run a step. But if you go 2 back, and I do have the replay here of this race, this is 2 back against Glory Vaz, who's also in this race. Let me freeze it here. So this is 2 back. It's a little bit hard to see now, but right here in the blue, this is Glory Vase, who is in this race and coming right here in the light blue. Pile Driver is just behind the pole here, 3 wide, making an earlier run and ran very well, Davey. So Pile Driver does have races that can win this race. Why don't you like him today?
Well, this Hong Kong race, Glory Vase has gone over there a couple of times now. Like it's on what they would call here a flat track bully, He's won a race there where the quality wasn't that high, and I think Pile Driver is a dressed up Group 2, Group 3 English horse, and it wasn't that much of a big deal for Glory Vase to beat him, and all the horses behind here weren't up to scratch either. So. I'm strongly against that. But then, my confidence is shook after the last. race. You know, it's
Well, I
funny.
think a lot of people's confidence is shook after. Let's go full screen. Thank goodness for Crown Pride, because
Yeah.
if it weren't for Crown Pride right now, I'm not sure what kind of day any of us would be having, frankly. Let's go back on screen. We got to talk my top choice. Let's talk about my top choice.
Okay.
And someone mentioned, you mentioned Alan Kerr. Alex R., this is a great question for Phil and Davey here. Does the Lord North performance flatter Alan Kerr, or did he take advantage of Lord North's rust last time? Alex, great question. I'll answer that question first. I think it flatters the performance. I didn't need to see Lord North run well. I love Alan Kerr in this spot. I was hoping to get a little more than 7-1 in the States right now. What was it, 9-2 I saw, or 11-2 I saw in the UK. I'm going to show the last replay. This race was in Lingfield. This is the prep that a lot of these horses ran. It's on synthetic. You're going to see this is Alan Kerr taking the lead. Lord North is right behind. And Phil, I don't know if you saw the replay or watched this race live when it happened, but not only did Alan Kerr win, I thought he ran really well, and Lord North was never getting him at any point.
No, he's quickened on the bend, and he's won well enough. He's won well enough, and Lord North, as I say, we went quite wide here. Mm-hmm. But Alan Kerr, once he's straightened up, he seems to change his legs here, and then he goes away again. Mm-hmm. The third horse is not up so much. Let me tell you now, Fancy Man. He's a 100 and something rated animal. Yeah. He's absolutely got beaten in a listed race last time out. Fancy Man won a short price favourite. So I don't know.
This is Fancy Man right here.
This is Fancy. Sorry, I don't know what the form entails, but you can't do any more than he done that day.
Yeah, I mean, you can only beat who you're facing, right? I mean,
course,
I don't. I love progressive 4-year-olds. It's just an angle I like a lot, Phil. It's been good for me. Drain the Clock didn't work out for me today. That's okay. That happens. He finished second. Go ahead, Davey.
Uberleben has just been cut from 40s to 20s.
On in your market or ours?
Yeah, UK market. Yeah.
Here's the to 20s.
Here it is. 40s now 20s.
28. Yeah.
Uberleben
16 in the States.
Yeah. So Davey, you got a worldwide fan club. Everyone's hearing Davey Lane on Uberleben. The money.
Davey Lane changes markets.
That's how much money Davey has backing. He's got a lot of backing out there.
He shook a few pillows out to put this bet on. It sounds, Howard.
I gotcha. Back to Alan Kerr, guys. I mean, he's faced nice horses. He finished second to Mishriff at the Juddmonte. I know he lost by 6, but he beat Love. There was other nice horses in behind. I thought he ran okay in the Arc. I watched the race again. I mean, it was very soft ground. He split the field, finishing, 9th. But was 6 lengths back. I mean, I don't think it was a bad effort. And by the way, I have some notes written down. Give me a chance to look it up. He beat. So here, I just want to. I want to mention this to everyone. Let me go. Let's put us back on screen a second here. Hold on. I don't know if you guys believe in what's. Oh, there's 1 minute to post. We gotta go. Anyway, Alan Kerr beat Broom by 3 lengths in the Arc, and Yabir barely beat Broom. So I just want to say, if you go by that, Alan Kerr might be better than Yabir. Anyway, good luck to everyone. They're going to go to the gate here in the Shima Classic. It's a wide open race. It's the penultimate race on Dubai World Cup Day here on the HHH Racing Podcast. We're back here with Phil Edwards. I'm sure Davy will be back here in just a moment. Phil, very exciting race. Another what appeared to be a pretty slowly run race up front. The Japanese. I mean, we keep saying it over and over. Shariar wins the race 8-1 here in the United States, Phil. What a great ride by DeMuro, saving ground the whole way, tipping out at the right time, and getting the victory.
Great ride. He's I actually thought Lemire was sitting pretty for the moment there on my selection, but he wound up early enough to. He went a slow pace, but he wound it constantly up from the 1200 meter pole, something like that. And the horses won well. The horses won so well, but Yabir's ran an absolute prep for that Man of War Stakes.
Wow. Yabir ran an absolute cracker. I could not have been more wrong. What a run by Yabir. I thought actually, with about 200 meters ago, I thought he was actually going to get up. I mean, he was coming like an absolute freight train. Davy, I got to throw out respect for Yabir. Yabir ran absolutely huge. He is not just a Breeders' Cup winner. I mean, I think he can be a factor. If he can run like this, I think he can be a factor anywhere in the world at this distance.
I agree. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to be as ready as he was. It's a long time between now and the Breeders' Cup next year, isn't it? And that's probably what the target is. So if they're working back from that, my God,
Well, the Breeders' Cup this year is at Keeneland in November. And, the weather in Kentucky in early November is very much like the UK. So I think it's going to be cooler. The turf is usually a little bit on the softer side. I don't know if that's going to play to Yabir. I think Yabir probably is going to be better on firmer turf, but boy. But again, Davey, before you came back on here, we're just throwing out a shout out to DeMuro on the fantastic ride on Charriere, who got a perfect trip, angled out, and the Japanese once again score tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it had to be a Japanese winner, didn't it? So I mean, he says
disappointed
for a hot set. Yeah, because I was the timing is on the bookie site, the feed is quicker, but I just watched that on the big TV, so it's kind of like a little more behind than So for a hot second, Uber Lieben was in the frame there on the outside. I thought it was gonna let down and just come, but it didn't.
Yeah.
But
got some comments. Alex got the Japanese again, 7-1. Congratulations. I'm sorry, guys, real quick. Just want a little shout out to the viewers here. JJ Tids, JJ, I'm not familiar with seeing you on the show before. Thanks for joining the show, JJ. Again, everyone, please make sure. It's very important you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. It costs you absolutely nothing. All it does is help myself out in the channel. That's all it does. You don't get any crazy emails. All it does is it tells YouTube this is an excellent channel and helps us down the road. Please make sure you subscribe. People in your family subscribe. Even people that don't even like horse racing. Just tell them to go to HHH Racing Podcast and tell them to subscribe to the show. Nakaya, thank you for joining the show. Pile Driver was sort of stuck inside, couldn't quite get out. I'm not sure, guys, that Pile Driver had the kick, though. But, no. I mean, he's an honest horse, isn't he? He just runs well every time. Again, Ralph, thank you very much for joining the show. Phil, anything you saw in trips? I don't know which horses you were watching in particular. Anything else you'd like to glean before we get on to the World Cup?
I think we might have seen the Arc de Triomphe winner there if he does make the trip over to France. I think Charriere there he's put that race to bed pretty handy.
Can he handle possible soft ground though? Because Tubac in the group 2, he was on soft ground, did not run well. He might need firm ground. No.
Well, sometimes I haven't seen a Japanese horse not go over there and not handle the soft ground. I mean, the deep impact of Simon over there, and even had an absolute barnstormer on soft ground. I know he was given a shocking ride that day, me personally, I think. But I see what your point is with the 4th place at the in the Shimbun High, but I can't see him going to the Japan Cup. But if he'd win any European Group 1 middle distance horse, that's Charriere. There's nothing we have home that can beat him.
Maybe a beer.
I don't think Yabir could beat him. No.
Wow. Okay.
I think we'll be going to try and pick up a few easier Group 1s this year. And you may be getting to, Germany. You might be seeing them take a plane ticket to a few places.
Okay.
There's the Combination Cup on the Friday before the Epsom Derby. That'd be the normal route you'd think, but with them going to the Man of War, I can't see him going to the Epsom for the Combination Stakes either. So, I don't think he's all that Yabir. Let's just say. I think they have one or two more Godolphin.
Sure. These are not the top of the top horses running today in Dubai. That's obviously same thing with the United States. There's horses that are just starting to come back now. They're just starting their season. So this is not the best horses in the world that are running today, just to make that very clear. I will say this, though, guys. Yabir comes over to the United States and runs in any race, I would say 10 furlongs or more. Forget it. Unless domestic spending for Chad Brown was hurt last year, is a very nice horse, is coming back. Domestic spending is a very nice horse. He's obviously can threat Yabir, but as of this very moment, Yabir would tower over anyone in the States. Davy, I thought Alenker ran well. Tom Marquand, by the way, congratulations to him, the jockey who just got married to Holly Doyle. And by the way, he's going to go by the name of Tom Doyle. I heard it's actually going to take her surname, from what I heard.
Howard, that's a parody account who put that.
It is? Okay.
Somebody called it Icy, and he changes his name to all different.
I'm glad you cleared that up, because
yes.
I'm glad you cleared that up, because that surprised me. But anyway.
Howard.
Okay. Anyway, I thought Alan Kerr got a good ride, just a little flat when it really mattered most. I can't really blame the ride. I'm a little disappointed, but he lost by 3 lengths. It was sort of bunched up at the end. I thought he ran just fine, although I was a little bit disappointed. Davey, any thoughts before we talk about the last race here?
Yeah, I was wrong again with Authority. He held on for third, right? So,
we did. We got some place money back. Yeah, we got
So well done on that, Phil. And it's again, the Japanese on the middle distance races are the horses to beat wherever they go. Except the Arc,
of Shariar there. I went onto the exchange and he was 10-1, so I couldn't leave that price go. I actually had a nice win bet on Shariar too when I seen that price there.
Yeah,
it's just insane that he was 3-1 early in the week, and he's allowed to go off 10-1, 8-1, 10-1.
What Howard and his viewers need to realize is that it's really wild the fluctuations that can happen here. In half hour before a race, it's not just money pouring on a favorite. Things are happening left, right, and center. So if you're smart and you're on top and you're clued in and you've got the Wi-Fi connection, you can do just about anything.
It's crazy. Gentlemen, because of that dead heat, they're moving. Listen, they don't mess around overseas, or it's not like Gulfstream where you got the post delay or whatever. Yeah. It says only 13 minutes to post. They're going to, because of the delay from the dead heat race.
Okay.
So let's just jump right in, guys. This is the big one. The $12 million Grade 1 Dubai World Cup. They're going about 1.25 miles. We got a big field, and we have a horse who is an absolute monster. I'm going to go first, guys, if you don't mind, because Life is Good. I've seen Life is Good twice. I'm going to put us on screen. I've seen Life is Good twice in person. I saw him at the Breeders' Cup when I was there, although I didn't go down to the paddock that day. It was crazy crowded, so I didn't get a chance. But obviously he won for me at odds on in the Breeders' Cup mile dirt race. And then at Gulfstream, I got to see him up close. I don't know if everyone has seen this horse like in the mornings or in the walking ring. This is just one of the most impressive visual horses, guys, I've ever seen. His neck is always bowed. He's on his toes, but it's controlled power. The definition of a thoroughbred, especially an American dirt thoroughbred, he is an absolute monster. I have zero negative to say to him. That being said, I'm going to try to beat him because he's 1-5 right now, 1-5 in the United States pools. Let's see what he is over in the Euro pools. He's got to be odds on. Let me just take a look here real quick. He's actually he's higher. He's 4-7, which again, those are unusual odds for people to see that in the United States. So again, that's if it was 4-8, it would be 1-2. The math guy. Thank you, everyone. So anyway, he's a big favorite. Let's just say that he's a big favorite. He has the rail. It's IRAD. My only concern are twofold. Number one, can he get the 1.25 miles? You would think he can. And number two, the rail. I've seen many times in my years of handicapping, guys, where a horse maybe stumbles a little bit from the rail and things get dicey. However, and Davy made up a good point to me earlier this week, the horse is just to his outside in gates 2, 3, and 4. You're talking about Aero Trem here and Chua Wizard, especially those two are not speed horses. So even if Life is Good, stumbles a little bit, I don't mean arrogant stumble. I mean, like he did, like a stutter step. There's no reason why IRAD cannot still get the lead. He's going to take a ton of beating here. I think Hot Rod Charlie is very good. I like Hot Rod Charlie a lot. What I like about Hot Rod Charlie especially is he has seemed to flourish at Maidan. He lost in December in a race that was a complete prep. In the Breeders' Cup, Nick's Go, who was awesome that day, just went to the lead. And Hot Rod Charlie ran just fine, but he was on the inside, which is not the place he wanted to be. If anyone's going to beat Life is Good, I see no one else in this race beating Life is Good, personally, except Hot Rod Charlie. I think Hot Rod Charlie's going to break running. Flavian Pratt is not overly aggressive guy. I think he'll sit right off of Life is Good. And I see a stretch duel down the lane. I do not think Life is Good is going to win by a pole. I think it's going to a serious challenge today. That's my opinion. Country Grammar, maybe, if things get hot early. I do not like Midnight Bourbon. I do not like anyone else in this race. To me, I guess it's more the obvious choice here. It's either Hot Rod Charlie or Life is Good. I'm going to take a small stab with Hot Rod Charlie. Davey, we're going to let you go here first.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Life is Good is going to take a ton of beating.
Yeah, he is, and I don't think you should try to beat him. I think you should try to play an exotic and go for something interesting underneath. And that means you play a try or you play a supers, and you've got the first two in the race. Life is Good, Hot Rod Charlie, and then try and fill the bottom 3 and 4 up with something big. You can see on the bottom of the screen. Sorry, David. You see at the bottom of the screen scrolling right now. Davey, he's got a $3.50 super. He's going 5.757, but then you've got some prices 1, 2, and 9. Yeah. And you also, we'll let Phil talk about his complete bomb in this race. Talk about the 1, 2, and 9 underneath, Davey, a little bit. Okay, well, Aerotrem is basically the leading weight for age horse from South America of his age over this particular discipline, over the dirt, and did a very good closing late for 5th in this Audi Cup, and was coming quick. It wasn't just like a consolation 5th; it was coming.
Here it is, Davey. If you want to talk about it, he's going to be on the outside. He's right.
Not there yet.
No, he's not even in the picture yet, Sally. Yeah. But let me freeze it. Yep. Sorry, let me freeze it. Right here is Country Grammar. Midnight Bourbon is right here. And Aero Trem, I believe, is right here.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you watch carefully, I mean, look at the horse is looking for its path, isn't it? And he's found his path, and now he's going to come, right? I mean, he's loose. He's coming. And if you get the visuals, you see how these are. He's there, he's coming again, and he's closing.
It also looks like right here is when he's really making his run. It's like it looks like it just took him a while to get going, like he was rusty. Again, here's Country Grammar. Here is Midnight Bourbon, who I am completely against. Sorry, Trish Smith out there. Midnight Bourbon always looks great and runs well, but never wins. And I don't think Midnight Bourbon wants this distance at all. And then here's Aero Trem running, a few lengths behind, and this is a longer distance.
Right, and this was longer distance at Dubai, and Mandaloon and these other characters were way even further behind Aerotrem. And if you follow the gallop out, Aerotrem is basically a 3rd place horse in this race.
Okay, sorry, I lost. I just took the video out. We're not going to see the gallop out. I apologize.
Oh, no problem. But so for me, that's a must use in a try or a superfecta, along with something more sensible.
And then you have Chua Wizard also maybe filling out the bottoms as well.
Yeah, that's something more sensible. 7-1 at the moment, and then you've got more sensible. I mean, Midnight Bourbon. I don't know what else to say. Those are the only sensible horses I could find to fit in. My big bomb would be Aerotrem. I think Phil has an even bigger bomb than mine. He can probably talk about that. I'm not sure if he's advised it to the players here, but I didn't see that. But he's very keen on it.
It is on the screen. So there's Midnight Bourbon, by the way, who I think will run an honest race, but I don't think is good enough here at all. Let's talk about the complete bomb that Phil, if you see on the bottom of the screen, he has $20, a top 3 finish. So Remorse needs to finish in the money for Phil to cash on his bet. What do you like about this horse? 36-1. I actually thought he'd be a little bit longer, Phil. He's 36-1 here in the United States.
He should be. I think he will drift further than that. I think I've just had a little bit more on 180-1 on the exchanges. Yeah, this horse is the epitome of consistency. He's got 4 seconds next to his name there. 2 of those could easily be first places. His last race where he came up against Hypothetical got a really easy lead that day. The finishing sectionals have him, if not the same, just about better than Hypothetical, the way he finished off that race. He really did get first run on him. He's got some outstanding course and distance form. He always runs his race. The faster the pace, the better for me, because he does stay very, very well. He'll still be going when a lot of horses have had enough here. I've got a sneaky feeling this horse could run onto a place.
Wow. Okay, he's the second longest shot on the board. Aerotrem, Davy, is the longest shot on the board in the United States, and I am fascinated with him underneath, especially if they go hot and heavy up front. The problem, again, is this dirt course has not played at all to closers today, although, Phil, it is now dark there, and maybe the track is going to be changing a little bit. Before we move on, guys, I need to give a very quick shout out, and we'll see on the screen, to the Adelphi Racing Club. Adelphi is a racing club of like-minded people who enjoy horse racing and the camaraderie of being a part of something bigger than themselves. It is a true community. Adelphi offers an interactive ownership experience with real-time access to other partners, trainers, bloodstock advisors, and other members of the team. Join the Adelphi Racing Club. Davy, what other comments would you like to make here about the Dubai World Cup?
I'm just trying to get on the 220-1 on the betting exchange.
For Remorse here?
You caught me, and there's
I'm sorry. Go, Phil. Well, let's let the young man get his bet in. Let's talk about the exchange, Phil. You see it on the screen here, Phil. If you don't mind, is there anything here on the exchange that you find interesting?
There's been, obviously, we've had some Japanese winners, so Chua Wizard's been well backed also, but you'd expect that with the Japanese have had. For me, Midnight Bourbon at 32-1. I mean, he's a second and third placed horse. He's going to be there or thereabouts, but I mean, he's gone to 60-1 there. That just seems like an outrageous price to me, which I will be having a slight interest in that win and place only.
So in the exchange you can bet, but that's only on the win then, is that correct?
That's only on the win. So you have another market there onto your left if you go down where it says place markets. To your far left.
Yes.
So you click on the place markets.
On the far, right here. There we go. Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay,
so
go ahead.
You can get now 6.8-1, which is just
I see.
Just to place, which for me, it's not a bad price at all for a horse of this quality. Who's probably going to be sent up there too. He's going to, he won't have a ton of kickback in his face.
Yeah. Remorse do I see only 7s on Remorse to place? Is that right?
I think Davy may have just relieved them of
There's the Davy Lane influence once again. He affects worldwide markets, folks. Davy Lane is that powerful. All right, let's get back to. Let's see the American odds here. We'll just scroll down the field here. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the previous race. By the way, we should talk about the pick 6 too payouts. We can look at that in a minute as well. Okay, so you got gentlemen, if you want to see the American pools right now, it's on screen. You got Aerotrem at 46. Chua Wizard 8-1. I mean, That's crazy to me. That's way too
short.
low. How is Chew a Wizard lower than Country Grammar?
Crazy.
Can someone please explain that to me? I don't.
Yeah.
I know Chew a Wizard finished second last year, guys, but last year's running isn't nearly as tough as this running.
Nowhere
I mean,
this.
that's crazy to me. Hot Rod Charlie 5-1. I'm going to put a little win bet on him. He probably can't win, but 5-1 is not. Getting sixes on Hot Rod Charlie when I personally think he's the only other horse that can win. That's not a bad number there. You see, Life is Good has now moved up to 3-5. Real World we haven't mentioned. Said bin Saur has won this race, I believe, 9 times, guys, if I'm correct, maybe 10. He's trying to do it again with Real World, who does have some form on dirt, 16-1. I just don't think he's good enough personally. Anything on the American betting pools here that either one of you want to comment on?
Nothing to my.
Take that as a no. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I see these guys are both furiously betting, so I'm not really doing it. So I'll go ahead. You guys go ahead. I know you can't see them on the screen at home. I'm not going to put them on the screen. I'll put myself. I'll just put myself on the screen right now. If you can see our two, they are like frantically in my camera here pushing buttons, and Davy's putting his house mortgage, I believe, on Remorse. I don't know what he's doing down there. I'll let those guys make their bets as we have about just a few minutes to post here. Again, I really want to thank everyone for joining me today. It's been a special show here on the HHH Racing Podcast. We've seen some big favorites. I'm just going down and looking right now the pick 6 prices, and I'm looking carefully. No one, by the way, has the pick 6 out of 6. There are some 4 out of 6s. It's gentlemen, I know you guys can hear me, obviously.
Yeah.
It is 5 out of 6 to Life is Good is $34,000, which there's probably only 2 people, I'm guessing. It's probably about a pool of 68,000, maybe 3 people. Hot Rod Charlie's 22,000 to 5 out of 6. There's even a 4 out of 6 to Hypotheticals, 4 out of 6. There's a few horses that are actually 4 out of 6. So none of our pick 6s are going to be cashing today. Obviously, extremely difficult to hit any of those. I'm going to go ahead and put, if you guys don't mind, my guess, we're going to put you back on screen, but you guys don't have to be looking at the screen. I'm just going to go ahead and put you guys back on screen here. I don't think we really have too much else to talk about in terms of the past performances. We see our bets down below. Davy's going to try to bet a super here. I'm not doing anything fancy. You're about to see the bets come across the screen. We'll go ahead and I'll bring up the past performances here on screen here just a moment. Let me go full screen. I'm going with a try with Life is Good on top, and then I'm going to back up my bet with an exacta Hot Rod Charlie over Life is Good. You see Davy's super, and then the bet for Remorse here. And actually we have more time. It says 0 minutes to post, guys, on the TV screen, but they are not even on track. So we actually have quite a few more minutes. I'm going to guess 5 or 6 more minutes here.
No, I think they're on track, Howard. I'm watching them down going to the start now.
Oh, you're right. There were some horses in the walking ring. You're right. I'm a little bit confused, but there are some horses that look like they're going down to the start. Guys, I think we'll just go ahead and let people enjoy the beginning of the race here. Again, we are going to be coming back. Let's put us on screen. We are going to be coming back here after the race. So please join us for a very quick wrap up. It is the 2022 Dubai World Cup. Can Life is Good win this race, or will there be a big upset? Enjoy the running of the Dubai World Cup.
My God.
Life is good. Absolutely. Just faded late. Could not get the distance or handle the track. I'm not sure. He
Yeah,
always drifts out. He always
Yeah.
drifts out. I was not surprised he drifted out. There's a lot to unpack. First of all, congratulations to Country Grammar and anyone who backed Country Grammar. There was talk that he might have bounced a little bit from his last race, although he ran well. I thought this was just a much better field than last month. I thought Country Grammar could definitely be in the running, but obviously I didn't think he could win the race. What an unbelievable ride, and I got to give credit. And Zendon, the owner of Country Grammar, of course trained by Bob Baffert, basically just went on American TV here, or TVG, and lauded the praises of Bob Baffert. That's a whole other show. Let me just say this straight out for everyone. I've never questioned the ability of Bob Baffert as a trainer. He's an unbelievable trainer. He's one of the best in the world. Anyone who says otherwise is crazy. That doesn't mean that he can do no wrong. And I don't want to get into a big debate, but everything that's happening to him in the United States, in my opinion, is absolutely fair. I just want to get that out in the open. I know most people that are watching the show probably do agree with me. I'm sure there's others that don't. That's perfectly fine. There are many things, gentlemen, that have been adjudicated. I don't want to make this a Bob Baffert conversation for our last 10 minutes, but he has to be talked about because he just won again the Dubai World Cup with a fantastic training job on a horse, Phil, who was off a year-long layoff last month and then comes and runs another huge race again here, beating a horse I thought was gone at the top of the stretch, personally.
Yeah. The track would seem to be definitely riding a lot deeper when that sun's gone up. It was getting that way on the Switzerland race.
Yeah.
The closers were, we're getting a lot of closers finishing that way. It seems that I think the track's beaten, not the trip, personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't try. You won't be in a rush to try him over this 12 furlong trip again. I can't see him running the Breeders' Cup Classic or anything like that anytime soon. But he's fun to watch, isn't he? I mean, I don't think he upsets absolute breakneck pace there. I like to look back on the sectionals.
Well, Michelle Yu, an excellent commentator here in the States who does international commentary. She's actually been on this show a few times, who I have great respect for, made an interesting comment, and that is maybe Life is Good went too slow, that he's better just making sure everyone gets off the bridle and running them off their feet, so to speak,
Yep.
and that they sort of let Life is Good let others into the game by being so close to the pace. But Phil, I know you want to respond. I think they did that because they were concerned about the distance. And if he went hammer and tongs the whole way, he would have lost by more. I think that was the thinking. Does that sound possible?
Yeah. And also, it was a double-edged sword too, because the others didn't want to take him on, thinking that the Life is Good from the US tracks where he comes and beats people up early. They didn't want a part of that because they didn't want to ruin the race by taking them on early. And the fact none of them took him on early, he's gone slow. We had that type of result in the end. But I think that Michelle Yu was quite right what she said. If he's gone his normal pace, maybe got everyone else that little bit earlier out of their comfort zone, who knows? But yeah, I mean, take nothing away from the winner. Frankie's given another great ride.
I mean, by the way, I have to go back and look at the stats. I have no idea. I'm going to look it up. I don't think Dettori is ridden for Baffert too often. I mean, every time Baffert comes, to Dubai, it's usually Mike Smith. Or he doesn't usually have, a foreign jockey on him. So I don't know how many times Dettori's run for Baffert, but that might not be the last time. Yeah, I mean, I should have mentioned Dettori. What an unbelievable ride. A lot of love right now on the channel for Bob Baffert. And look, I want to make it clear again. I'm not throwing shade at Bob Baffert. I just said he's one of the best trainers in the world. But you can still be one of the best trainers in the world and do things that you shouldn't be doing. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Phil, Davy, can we talk about Hot Rod Charlie for a second?
Yeah.
That was my top pick. If you watch the race carefully, first of all, I didn't even see the start of the race. Like, the TV was horrible. You couldn't even see the break. I don't know if you guys saw the same camera view, but we missed the break. Like, what the hell? I mean, come on, guys. It's a $12 million race, and they can't show a pan shot or a head-on to start the race. I mean, I'm going to use language. It's fucking ridiculous that we couldn't see the start. Well, I mean, seriously, guys, we couldn't see the start of the race. I mean, you didn't know who was braking. I mean, come on, ridiculous. But anyway, that being said, Hot Rod Charlie broke fine. Then he got shuffled back a little bit, and they were scrubbing. They were scrubbing on him, on the backstretch. I thought he was done. A bad pick by me. But then he regained momentum and made a nice run up the inside. I thought Hot Rod Charlie actually ran very well, Davy, in this race.
Yeah, he did, and but for Frankie Dettori, he might have pulled it off.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing when you go into these exotic pools and stuff. Dettori and Baffert. I know they were a combination today, maybe for the first time, but you kind of should be putting those guys in automatically and then taking them out afterwards. If for whatever reason. But I don't think many people were playing in the exotic pools today for Dettori in the last race.
I will say, and I'm just going to do this, I'm going to say this a bit selfishly, but I got to put a little bit pat on my back.
Yeah.
Guys, desperate times calls for desperate measures.
Yeah.
So I played an exacta without Life is Good Anywhere. So I do have a $10 exacta Country Grammar over Hot Rod Charlie. I don't know what it's going to pay, but I'm sure it's going to pay decent. I just decided, you know what, I got to try to make some money in this last race. So I did bet Life is Good also, but I also made some other bets. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a genius because I'm not sure I would have done that normally. But again, you get circumstances. I think today, well, let's just finish talking about this race. Chua Wizard, I believe, finished third, just over Life is Good. A nice call, Davy Lane. Again, the Japanese faring very well in a big race.
He was the closer who closed, right? Remorse didn't do too bad either. I thought for a second Remorse was coming, and he was, but it was just...
What did he finish, Phil?
I did think he was coming back on the outside because he does stay well. And he was closing again at the line. I think he come fifth at the end.
Fifth, he was fifth. He was a close fifth too. Yeah. So
he's on a hell of a race, isn't he? He had that in him. He wasn't out of place. He shouldn't have been a 250 to 1 shot. That's for certain.
Yeah.
But you can't take on the big Americans and let them do whatever they want on the front end. I thought there wasn't many hard luck stories. Maybe Chua Wizard. I think Life is Good come across from early doors and maybe just put him up a bit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he could have finished a lot closer. Chua Wizard.
Yeah. I'll tell you what cost Hot Rod Charlie is that Midnight Bourbon. I think, and I'm not going to apologize for the language. It's YouTube. I can swear. I can use profane on this show. The break is huge in this race because I thought Hot Rod Charlie was going to get the trip that Midnight Bourbon got sitting right off, and I couldn't tell exactly what was going on. Which, okay, I don't want to talk about it anymore. But anyway, if Hot Rod Charlie had gotten the trip that Midnight Bourbon got, I think he wins the race, guys. I really do. And people can say I'm wrong. You can comment on the chat. You can comment down below the video player. You can send me emails. Hot Rod Charlie, we got shuffled back, was taking a lot of dirt, was 5-6 lanes back at the top of the stretch, and was coming on the inside. Well, he only lost by 2 lengths. Congratulations to them. I thought I ran well. Midnight Bourbon does what Midnight Bourbon does. I said it before. I'll say it again. He's a nice horse. They need to turn this horse back, guys. I think Midnight Bourbon will be very good, like 1 turn, 7 furlongs a mile. He's a nice horse. You guys see the same thing over in Europe and Asia. Certain horses are just better going a certain distance. Muhafeth might be better going a shorter distance. I think Midnight Bourbon is one of those horses. I don't really have too much else to add in this race. What is Life is Good going to do going forward? Let me talk to our American viewers here. I think I'm not going to give up, guys, on him going to the Breeders' Cup Classic in November. He's a lightly raced 4-year-old. He can get better. It's not like he lost by 10 lengths here. Maybe it was the track a little bit. I think Keelan might play better to him. I'm not going to discount him possibly going to the Breeders' Cup Classic. But what I really hope he goes to, and everyone in the world should be interested in this race, the Met Mile. It's on Belmont Day, guys. It's on Belmont Stakes Day in early June. The Met Mile is the best 1-turn mile race in the United States other than the Breeders' Cup Mile, which actually is 2 turns. You've got absolute monsters possibly going in what would be the race literally of the decade of the 21st century. Watch out. You guys should listen to news in the United States over the next month or two about who is going to the Met Mile. It could be Flightline, Life is Good, Jackie's Warrior, who we mentioned today. There's a horse called Speaker's Corner. I could go Midnight Bourbon. I could go on and on. The Met Mile at Belmont on Belmont Stakes Day could be one of the best races in the world, not only this year, but in a very long time. Just want to throw out some kudos to the Met Mile. Tom said $33 for a dollar. I'll take $3.30. I'll take that. Thanks, Tom. I didn't look it up yet. So that bet worked up well for me. Guys, as we go ahead and wrap up the show, you see down below the video player, by the way, next podcast will be next Wednesday is the plan. If you're watching, I'm going to have 2 shows next week, by the way, is the plan. One for Oaklawn and one for Gulfstream Park. Davy and Phil, there are some big trials or big prep races coming up for the Kentucky Derby in the next few weeks. There's 2 of them next week. So I will be watching. I'll have 2 shows probably next week. Phil and Davy, let's start, Davy, with you. I think what today shows me from a betting standard is even when you have a lot of bad opinions, it only takes one. I think a lot of us, or many of us, cashed on Crown Pride. I cashed on the last race. I was wrong about a bunch of other races today. But really, if you can just find that one horse, it can make your day, Davey.
It sure did. And Crown Pride was that. I mean, I was mostly betting on Combustion, but I did have something on Crown Pride. A Happy Romance each way as well was good for me too. So it began very, very well. And each way on Red Lizelle also. But then it really tailed off for me. I'm still in shock about Schnellmeister's race, to be honest,
Yeah, that was disappointing. What's your main, other than Life is Good losing, Davey, is there one horse or is there one race or one takeaway that you'd like to offer up to the viewers on Dubai World Cup Day today?
I think it was Switzerland. That's a horse, sometimes you go with horses and you stick with them. And I didn't bet it today. And I didn't bet it because maybe there was so much opinion swirling around about other horses that you sometimes don't go with your own opinion and gut. So, what the lesson of that is that, don't spend the time to think it out yourself and don't get highly influenced. Yes, take the temperature everywhere you can, but, don't feel sick because, something that was, you had reasons for following a horse for a while. And this was a day where he was 33s and you could have played it and you didn't because you were sort of, the background forest noise was too much and that allowed you to get distracted. So focus on your own stuff and trust your own gut,
Phil, any particular horse that you thought ran off the charts today? Anyone really surprised you? Any main takeaways from 2022 Dubai World Cup Day?
Well, for me, the horse most eye-catching today for me was Manolbo in the Gold Cup before we come on here. I think they're going to step this horse down and trip. He pulled like an absolute train today. And
Stay Foolish won that race, everyone.
He's done so well to finish second. I think they'll step him back in trip. He's got so much speed. He looks a very exciting horse, even though he got beat. And I think you can't take away Shariar's performance today. He's put that race to bed pretty quickly. He's gone past authority and held on the beat and held off Yubia wide. So, the Japanese horses, they've got to follow them wherever they go.
Yeah.
My 2 main takeaways today, ladies and gentlemen, is number one, favorites were awful. A lot of the big favorites did not win. It's hard to win on these days. We've seen them win before. Schnellmeister, Man of Power, ran well but lost. Life is Good. I'll be very interesting to see if people think Life is Good ran poorly or just was the distance. I'm curious to see what they say. They're going to probably turn back distance a little bit. And the other comment I will say is what Phil just mentioned. The Japanese and the Asians, congratulations. What a fabulous job. That is 2 big international days in a row where they have absolutely crushed it. So congratulations to all the Japanese and Hong Kong and connections in Asia. It's been fantastic. Guys, not only were the horses fantastic from Asia and elsewhere, you two gentlemen, round of applause. If you're at home, give them a round of applause for Davy Lane and Phil Edwards. And again, if you appreciate the work we've done for you here for today on the show, or the work that Phil and Davy has done for us, please go to my YouTube channel on the top the right-hand corner. You can just throw a few bucks on PayPal, and if not, that's absolutely fine. If you're new to the show, I really hope you enjoy the broadcast. Please comment down below. We need a lot of comments. I need comments. What did you like about this format? What did you not like about this format? Should we do this again? What kind of race days should we do this on? I need your input, folks. So please, down below the video player or on Twitter, but I prefer down below the video player, comment on your opinions on what happened today. I would appreciate not too many emails. I don't want to get 500 emails, but if you prefer that way, go ahead. Davy and Phil, if you could stay on literally 10 seconds after the show ends here on YouTube, I'd love to just finalize things with you. But everyone, it has been an absolute pleasure to bring the 2022 Dubai World Cup Day live here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I've been your host, Howard Kravets, Phil Edwards, and Davy Lane. Thank you, gentlemen. Until next time, we hope to see you on the HHH Racing Podcast. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, everyone. Take care. Good day.
Ciao.